Yeah, I like it too.
And and we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico, and I am your in-house conservative. To my left, Rob Ambrose, our token lefty, and together our goal is simple. We want to show you that it's possible for someone from the left and someone from the right to get along. And even if we disagree, we're capable of having conversations like human beings. Because remember, common sense has no political affiliations. What's going on, bro?
How's it going, brother? I had a bit of a late night last night. We were up until 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, I was up until 1 p.m. and I think I was up at like 4:30. I was probably up before 6 p.m. 6 a.m. this morning Eastern time. So
Jesus.
it's been I'm used to getting up early, man. So it doesn't matter if I slept 4 hours. My body's like, you're up. So at least
Yeah.
it gave me somewhat time to do quite a lot of research yesterday, like this morning about yesterday, what people think happened. It's going to be an interesting conversation. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, we're gonna dig into essentially what the fuck happened, how we got here. Jason says you guys talked to each other off the ledge. Yeah, I feel like I was a little more serene about it. I saw it coming, to be honest. But I think it was a bit of a surprise. At least I really didn't expect a majority. Do we know for sure yet? I'm gonna look.
It didn't get a majority.
They didn't get one,
No,
but
no, 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 no. They don't have a majority. They have a minority.
Yeah, that's right. With the bloc, kind of the ability to. Well, we're going to talk about that, but the bloc definitely was one of the
they're
big
the real
winners.
winners.
Yeah,
In my opinion, they're the real winners. Is what the bloc won yesterday. It's interesting how you can win with less votes. They lost, I think, 9 seats, but somehow, in my opinion, they're still the winners of what happened yesterday. It's absolutely
I
insane.
agree with that too. I agree with that 100%.
Um,
So
hold
Sonia
on.
Morin's. Yeah, you go ahead. You take
She
that.
left them a message before we even started the feed. That is what you call commitment.
The
Um,
devotion. Yeah.
I knew that Carney would win since last June. He is the president of the Chatham House, and he went at the 2024 Bilderberg meeting. Sad but true. Well, he is a globalist. He's not hiding this. This is not conspiracy theory. He's said it out loud. He has no shame in saying that he's a globalist banker. So, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
the thing is, and this is what I'm going to say about this, and this is what, am I surprised? Not really. But at the same time, it reminds me how Canadians are very easily manipulated. It reminds me how weak as a nation we are, and this might hurt people's feelings, but I've traveled a lot, and we have no, we're not patriotic at all in Canada. Most people are not patriotic. Most people don't even know what it means to be Canadian. I can even tell you what our values are anymore. Like, even as a Canadian, I don't even know what we stand for anymore. So I'm not surprised that a guy like Carney, that's responsible for a lot of the state of our economy today, still got reelected because people are scared. And I found a great video this morning of just a street interview, and it's an older woman that explains why she's voting for Carney. And to me, she explains it beautifully as to, if you wonder what happened yesterday, without realizing it, she tells us exactly why. It's fear. It's absolute fear what happened yesterday. So still there?
Yeah. I think it's, yeah. I mean, we're again, we're gonna get into it, but I think I think there's definitely a lot of meat on that bone, as we're gonna kind of talk about that. Mitchell Lewis says America needs to offer Canadian conservatives asylum in our swing states. Yeah,
It's not
it's
going to happen. Although
no,
it's been
it's not.
discussed, like Trump had hinted at it back in, I think it was January when he first came in power. He
Yeah,
kind of hinted at it, didn't really say it directly. But I saw a post about it this morning about how the talks are happening again, and that would not surprise me though. I would not be surprised if Trump would say to the more conservative Canadians, like, we'll trade you. Trade your Canadian citizenship for an American one, and brother, I could see a lot of people going for this. If you offer a one-for-one trade, Canadian citizenship flat out for an American one, like no questions asked, and you can move to whatever state you want. I could see that I'd sign that deal, brother. That you give me a choice between Carney and the Americans, that choice is
Yeah, I can. Mitchell says Rob can come too. Yeah, I'm coming. Woo!
No, we don't want we don't
but,
want we don't want you in the States. Bro.
yeah,
Stay in
we
Canada.
don't want these dirty libs. Yeah.
We don't want
dirty
you.
libs.
Nope. Sorry, not
Um,
sorry. We don't want you.
Yeah. So what are some of the storylines that I thought was interesting last night? I think Poilievre losing his seat was interesting. I guess Jagmeet losing his seat too a little bit. The fact that
That's
the
not
NDP
surprising though.
No, NDP lost official party status, which is another important storyline. And I think the main one that came out of for me was this: is this going to energize the Alberta separatist movement? Which, if you
1,000,000,000% yes. I'm in
yeah,
BC right now with a guy that I'm staying with a guy that is very aware of Alberta state and how they want independence, and they've been talking about it for a long time. I can tell you, yes, 100% they will energize it.
even in BC, eh?
Yeah, and I got an explanation. I was talking with him. I don't want to disclose his name because he didn't agree to have his name disclosed here, but
Yep.
he basically, the reason why, yesterday Jason was talking about how northern and southern
BC was he was hoping they would split.
So the northern portion is conservative, the southern portion is more liberal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But what would make sense is that if they do separate, like the northern part, the northern part, that would give access to the Pacific. So because this is one of the biggest problems that I see if Alberta separates without any other state, like, 'cause even if Saskatchewan separates at the same time, it doesn't really help them in a way to put their oil to market, because if they separate, they can only sell to the US unless they become the 51st state, and then that's a different story. But if they would have northern Alberta, northern BC, that means they could build a pipeline to the Pacific and be able to bring their own oil to market without being 100% dependent on the US.
Yeah, I think geography matters. I think if Alberta gets the ball rolling, I think no doubt Saskatchewan jumps on. And then I think when BC looks at the situation, they say, okay, we can say in Canada that is essentially going to be a dying country, and we're not even connected to them, right? There's another country essentially in between us, or we can just go with Alberta and Saskatchewan. That makes a lot of sense to me. I think you'd probably see something like that. And then honestly, who knows what kind of dominoes that trips for the rest of Canada, because I think if people are smart, if we got to that point, I think people looking at Western Canada saying, okay, without Alberta, without BC, without Saskatchewan, we don't really have anything. They're the ones paying the bills so far, like in the last 20, 30, 40 years. So you could almost see a scenario where Eastern Canada says, all right, fuck it. We'll join the 51st state, but then at that point, Trump will probably be like,
but it's not going to happen.
Interested. No, he's like, not interested. I got Alberta. That's all I really want.
I guarantee you that the U.S. does not want Eastern Canada. The only state that they really want is Alberta, maybe Saskatchewan. Outside of that, they're not interested in anything else. It's way too liberal. You don't want to import the equivalent of California in your country. You don't. You really, really don't, and it ain't gonna happen. So I found this yesterday. I found this morning, actually. I was looking for a cool map to share, and man, it always puts it into perspective, man, when you see it on a map and you get to see what went where. And here you go. There you go. Oh, here's the map for yesterday. So, man, there's a lot of blue there.
Yeah, yeah, there is. I mean, it's clearly to me, it's Ontario and east is
Oh yeah,
one thing, and then from Manitoba to the west is all blue. Of course, the cities like Vancouver's obviously going to be red. That's a given, but it does. Yeah, I mean, it to me it does seem like right now Canada's two countries. There's a divide straight down the middle, and there's an east and a west. And I again, as I said last night, I am a patriot. I want Canada to stay in one piece, but at the same time, you got to recognize that Alberta and the West, their grievances are legitimate. They're not just complaining. And we need to take that seriously and hope it's not too late.
it's too late, bro. Like I'm telling you, this. I've had a lot of time. Well, a lot of time. I've had quite a bit of time to ponder this, and Jason said something yesterday that stuck with me, and this to me is, I don't know if you remember, but he said that this was the last, Carney will be the last Prime Minister of Canada as we know it, as you and I grew up to know. This is gone. That Canada's gone now. There's no way in hell that Alberta's staying. And I'm trying to get a, I'm trying to get someone on the show that's a specialist to explain to us
Oh yeah,
how
honestly,
Alberta
Jason would
could do
probably
it.
be.
Yeah, but he's busy as hell, so I
Yeah.
don't know if either way, the guy I'm trying to get on the show knows Jason. Like they know each other
Okay.
very well. Jason even mentioned him yesterday. So
Okay.
I'm waiting. I'm being introduced to him as we speak. So I'm going to try to get him on the show. I'd like to get him on the show this week. But from what I understand, man, I had a long conversation with who I'm living with right now or staying with in BC. And it seems like it's not that complicated. In his opinion, it will be done within 6 months.
I mean, that seems a bit fast, but I guess we'll see.
The premier Daniel Smith has spoken about this before, right? I was
Yeah.
watching an older video of when Carney came into power, and not like yesterday, but when he came into power for the Liberal Party, and she was very clear that she did not stand for this. And now that he's there, that he's really there, and he has no intentions of removing Bill C-69, Alberta screwed, and they're done. This is all I'm
Yeah.
getting is Alberta is done, and that's gonna be. We're literally getting to see, as scary as a time as this is, it is a very interesting time because we get to see Canada getting dismantled right in front of our eyes. It's gonna be very interesting. The next 6 months to a year is gonna be insane.
Oh yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. We'll take a few of these questions, guys. If you're out there listening, what's your takeaway of the election last night? What do you think was the most important storylines? And what is your take on the topic we're discussing right here, which is Alberta separate? I
Uh,
haven't heard
but
Albexit. Is that what they're going to call it? Albexit. But
Before we get to Alberta, because I'd like to have a guy that's extremely knowledgeable so that we can explore that question. But really, the question I wanted to ask people today is who's to blame? Because we went from literally a 20 points lead in January where we thought that Poilievre was going to dismantle Trudeau leaving, Carney replacing him, and now we're looking at another Liberal minority. They gained about 40 seats, the Conservative did.
mhm.
But Pierre Poilievre couldn't even be elected in his own riding. So who's to blame? Is Poilievre to blame? Is Trump to blame? Because that's all I'm seeing this morning from all the conservative side of things. All I'm seeing is that it's Trump's fault. Nobody seems to be blaming Poilievre. They all seem to be saying that he did nothing wrong, which obviously you and I
That's
disagree with
yeah, no,
this.
no, that's crazy.
You and I
That's crazy.
completely disagree with this. But a
Crazy.
lot of people are blaming Trump. So for the people out there that are either liberal, conservative, or don't fucking know where you stand, who's to blame? Did Poilievre blow it? Did Trump blow it for him? Is it a combination of both? What is it? What the fuck happened yesterday?
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to hear you guys' takes on that. So a couple of these comments here. Joseph Jama says, "I saw someone offer a trade. Alberta for California and Michigan straight up. I feel like they jump on that in a second. The Americans do.
Yeah, except that Jason, good friend of the show, is not okay with that. I can talk to him. I can talk for him right now. He ain't okay with this.
You don't want that. Cheryl says, hi, Nico and Rob. Cheryl, how you doing this morning? It was a late night.
Thanks for being with us. God damn, you've gotten a lot of us over the past 12 hours, eh, Cheryl? Did you dream of us too?
Yeah, absolutely. Joe Strama says, maybe I'm seeing this sideways because that map looks like the divide is north-south. Yeah, I mean, that map's a little hard to tell because, like, some of the giant red squares were just very, like...
One riding.
Yeah, one riding. They're very sparsely populated. Yeah. If you really want to, really the true divide is rural versus urban, is cities versus rural areas. Because even in the, we talked about this last night, even in like Texas, which is a obviously very Republican state, you've got Austin, you've got Houston, you've got Dallas that are all Democrat. And even in Alberta, I believe that the Liberals did get one seat in downtown Calgary.
Yeah, it's right here. That's Kelowna. Oh, damn.
No, that's
I know. No, that's where I am right now.
That's where you are.
Yeah, I'm right here right now. But you're talking right here in Calgary.
Yeah, Calgary Confederation. So it is. That does seem to be the main divide, but. Yeah, I mean, I think as far as how this is going to go, I suspect the divide will be Manitoba. I don't know where Manitoba will sit, but I know Saskatchewan is probably almost certainly going to, if Alberta gets the ball rolling, Saskatchewan's going to probably jump on. Then you're looking at BC, just where they are geographically. It wouldn't make sense for them to be part of a country that's what couple thousand miles or kilometers away from them.
They could connect. They could connect through.
I guess
the Northwest Territories. Like
I guess so. Yeah,
they could connect on top there, but
yeah,
it's a very interesting. So, do you want to take some of those comments? Because I'm really curious to see what people are thinking.
I'll take the rest. Rusty Wiener. Great name.
Nice. Good name, bro.
It says Alberta independence now. Canada's a lost cause. The system of government is broken. It's a lot of we heard a lot of that sentiment last night for sure. And I think we're going to see a lot more.
100%.
Mitchell Lewis says, step 1, import Canadian/European conservatives to weaken the liberal vote in the U.S. Step 2, watch Canada and Europe descend into chaos without the conservatives. Step 3, go take Europe and Canada back and Europe back for conservatives. Yeah, I mean, it's a sort of interesting plan, but you can't really, human beings can't really move around like chess pieces like that. In theory, well, yeah, but how are you going to do? Like, just round up all the conservatives and make them move? I don't. They'll probably resist that.
You think?
Yeah.
No, but put back the comment on, because you had 3 points. So step 1, import Canadians, European conservative to weaken the liberal vote. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Step 2, watch Canada and Europe descend into chaos without their conservatives. That is going to happen. That right now, I guarantee you, this is the next step, because you're going to see, in my opinion, you're going to see a massive exodus of people that cannot take another 4 years of Carney. And as I was saying on the show yesterday with Jason, I think that Alberta better be ready to see an influx of people.
Oh, I think, yeah.
Similar to what happened with Florida during COVID, where people moved there. I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happens to Alberta. So I see an exodus of people either going overseas, going to the US, going to Alberta. But Canada's, I think this is the point. This is going to become the real conversation over the next 6 months, is how long will Canada stay Canada, as you and I know it, as all of us know it? Because from the looks of it, Canada as we know it will not exist anymore within the span of a couple of years. It won't be there anymore.
Well, I mean, we'll definitely have to wait and see. I think a lot of that's going to depend on how, because right now, if we're going to, for Alberta to get the separate movement, they still got to get the support up there a little bit.
600,000 people, which is a joke they can get in a heartbeat.
Is that the number?
I was looking into it this morning. It's 600. They need 600,000 signature in order to create the referendum to ask the people the question.
Yep.
At 600,000, if you look at how blue, I'll put it on the screen again here.
Yep.
But this is how blue, let me scroll in. This is how blue Alberta is. It literally is all blue except Edmonton center that is liberal, and then you have Edmonton, another Edmonton riding. So you have three ridings: Calgary Confederation,
Okay.
you have Edmonton Center, and then you have Edmonton Strathcona, which is NDP. All the rest, blue, 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 all over the place. And not only that, I think this place actually had a really cool. You could check per riding. This is what kind of blew my mind when I look at this morning. Look at those numbers. Those are the numbers from the popular vote. 65% conservative versus 28% for liberals and 6.5%
This
for
is
the
in
NDP.
Alberta. Yeah, wow.
That's
wild.
Alberta. So you're looking at, they got almost 3 times the vote for conservatives. So, man, that just shows you how tired Alberta is.
Yeah, I think so let's so Alberta's population is 5 million. I'm just looking at some numbers here. So they need 600,000 to get I mean, so what is that number?
Again, I'm going to get an expert so that we can speak about this, that we can have the real numbers, but from what I could find this morning, it seems that it's 600,000 signatures that are needed in order to ask the question, to have a referendum and ask the people if they want to separate or not.
Yeah, well, that sounds doable. I'm also looking at another poll that says the separatist, like the support for separation in Alberta and Saskatchewan right now is about 35%. So that would be that's well over 600,000 in a population.
35% of 5 million. Yeah, you're talking about you're talking 2 million people, 1.8 million people.
So right away the numbers seem like they jive.
That's 3 times more than what they're needed, and I guarantee you that after the election of yesterday, and Carney, Jason said it yesterday, Carney winning is the best thing that can happen for Alberta separating.
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah. If that's your goal, you're pretty happy with last
100%.
night.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. So, all right. Cheryl says the only thing that makes sense is foreign interference. I was listening to Sam Cooper this morning. I mean, I think there, and this is sort of the topic of the day, and we're going to get into this. I think we all see like there's a lot of blame going around. I think a lot of people are in disbelief. I think there's just a lot of Canadians who just don't really see I guess what the rest of us see. For them, it seemed like a fear-based election, fear of Donald Trump, fear of change. I don't know why you'd be afraid of change, because the status quo has been so bad. I would be excited for change, but old people.
Let me, what you're saying right now, perfect segue. Thank you for saying what you just said, because I found a video this morning. It's just a straight interview video, nothing special about it until you start listening to what the woman is saying, and it explains exactly what you just said there. Is exactly how I see it too. So it's easy for me as a conspiracy theorist to say China was involved. It's easy for me to say that there was something happened. I saw videos of people leaving the election offices with boxes of votes, and we don't know where their votes are going. Is that a possibility? 100% it is. Would that surprise me that that's what happened? No. But that being said, let's put my non-conspiracy theorist hat and listen to this video and tell me that this is not this could not be exactly what happened yesterday. Because, man, that woman to me is a baby boomer, and she explains exactly. So basically, it's why did she vote for Carney? Listen to this.
Okay.
Liberal because I have to, because we don't have any choice. It's either that or conservative, and I would die before I vote conservative.
Oh, really? Yeah. So even 3 straight terms of Liberal, do you believe that they're the best choice?
I'm going to tell you the truth. Mm-hmm. I can disagree with the Liberals, and I feel I would have a voice to disagree. Mm-hmm. The other party scares me. I'd rather be in disagreement than in fear.
Listen to this. Like, I want to play this again. I want to make sure you guys really hear
Yeah.
what that woman is saying. I'll play it one more time. Listen to this.
Yeah.
Leaning towards liberal because I have to, because we don't have any choice. It's either that or conservative, and I would die before I vote conservative.
Oh, really? So even 3 straight terms of liberal, do you believe that they're the best choice?
I'm going to tell you the truth. I can disagree with the liberals, and I feel I would have a voice to disagree. The other party scares me. I'd rather be in disagreement than in fear.
That's wild. That's wild to me. Like, I mean, man, if you just like the liberals for whatever reason, if you just hate conservatives or you don't like Poilievre, sure, okay, whatever, that's your right. But I don't understand this. Like, fear? What do you mean? Like, fear? There's absolutely nothing about the conservatives that would suggest that there's any reason to live in actual fear. Like, and she sounded like she meant like fear for her life. It's brainwashing, man. It's just brainwashing. It's there's no other way to describe that.
You know, we spoke often about defunding the CBC, about how they're giving the CBC $1.4 billion. If you want to understand why they've been giving them billions of dollars every year, this is why. This right there is why. Because from the get-go, Carney ran on fear. Fear of Trump, fear of Pierre Poilievre, fear of everything that could happen. Anything he could say that was preventing people from asking questions about how can we trust you considering that you've been responsible for destroying our country over the past 5 years. Anything possible not to have to answer that question, he's used, but it was all fear. And her video, when I saw that this morning, I'm like, yep, that is exactly what happened. So you can, you can believe that there was interference, and I strongly believe that there was. I've seen so many videos already of people interfering. So was there interference? I believe that there was. Do I have proof right now? I don't, but I believe that there was. But even if there wasn't, like, let's say, put that aside for a second and let's be super logical and no conspiracy theories allowed. This right there tells you why they won. Right there.
Yep.
Because baby boomers are scared of Pierre Poilievre. They're more scared of the image that the Liberal Party has created of Pierre Poilievre and Trump than they are of the actual party that's been destroying our economy and that has taken my rights away because I refuse to whoop whoop. So, like I said yesterday, they have a literal tyrannical government governing them right now, and they keep on voting for them like Stockholm syndromes. Oh, I'm going to vote for the people that are capturing me because those people are worse. They've never been in power. So you don't know about Pierre Poilievre. He's weak sauce. He's a liberal painted in blue. That's all he is. He's not taking any of your rights away. Nothing at all. Zero is going to change under Pierre Poilievre. It's not going to get as bad. It's going to stop the bleeding. And Trump is not responsible for 10 years of our economy. Yeah. He's been there for 3 months. So the TDS is so strong in Canada that Carney got elected by saying the same fucking thing that got our country in trouble over the past 10 years. And people are like, I'm scared of Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah, that's wild. That's just that's I don't understand that at all. And you know, could I be convinced that there was some interference? Sure, but I really don't think it changed the outcome. I think that this is the way the country voted.
You don't need the interference to understand what happened yesterday. Yeah. Is it possible? Absolutely. But is this the reality? 100% You know that people think like her. You know, there's a lot of people like her.
I know a lot of people like her.
Yeah, my point exactly.
Mitchell says Poilievre is controlled opposition, not even a good actor. A real conservative would have eaten Carney up. I mean, we've talked about that a lot.
I called it from the get-go that I believe that he was controlled opposition. So it's hard for me to disagree with you, man.
Well, we saw, we saw this great ad about crime the day, Friday?
It was Friday during our podcast as we're recording.
After they've already had fucking 30% of the votes.
Days.
Yeah, and they've already had 30% of the vote done. You know what I mean? I don't understand it. Jason says, "Fuck no." He's talking about does he
California
want
joining Canada?
he wants that trade.
I have spoken for you, bro. I know you enough to know that you're not interested.
Rusty Wiener jumps back on and says, "I'm almost
Great
relieved
name.
that."
Sorry, man, but that's sorry for cutting you off. That's a great name.
It is a great name. He's relieved that Poilievre lost. He's always been a conservative in a skin suit. He will not address an issue until after the MSN says it's okay. The truckers, for example, he was 2 days late. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair assessment on Poilievre. I guess as a liberal, I didn't really pay that much attention to him until the last month or so. But just what I see, I can't even put my finger on it. I can't even explain exactly why. I just feel like he's weak. I just feel like you just get that vibe from people, right? You can tell strength and you can tell weakness, and that's how I feel about him. Memorino says, "Hey guys, my family members in Canada seem to want to place all the blame on President Trump. I believe he had a role in what happened yesterday, but not all the blame." Okay, yeah. So I guess this is a direct response to the question of the day, and I haven't really chimed in, but I think I probably.
You want to check videos before I'm cutting you off because I got 2 videos for you.
Okay.
A very known conservative guy.
Let's get these comments, and then we'll get to those. But yeah, finish what you're saying there.
All I was saying is before you give your opinion, I'd like you to watch 2 videos that I found. They're short. They're probably a minute. One's from Jordan Peterson. And another one is from this really known Canadian guy, but I cannot remember his name right now. You've seen him. Other bald-headed guy, just like you and I.
Yeah.
He talks about this stuff all the time. But I wanted to show you those 2 videos and then ask
and then we'll talk. Yep. All good.
I'm really curious to see where you come from as a liberal, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So do you want to take comments? And then
we've only got
videos.
We've only got a couple more, and then we'll jump on the videos. Jason says, "Jesus, was that voting by the square mile?" Referring to that giant riding up in northern Manitoba that made it look like
there's nothing much there. There's a lot more animals than humans up there, bro.
Made it look like there's a lot of red, but it's not a lot of people.
It's like one riding that is the size of fucking Texas.
Yeah, exactly right. Cheryl says, "I woke up on this side of the grass. Any day above ground is a good day." So we're sun did rise today. The birds are chirping here, so it's
man, Rusty Wiener's on fire.
Yeah, if Justin had half the dirt that Poilievre sits on, they'd have gone to war long ago. Yet Poilievre said nothing. Yeah, Rusty Wiener, man.
You're gonna fit right in, bro. You're gonna fit right in. Welcome.
Yeah,
to the political orphans, bro.
Yeah, I feel like I would have. Recognized or remembered Rusty Wiener if he had commented. I think this might be your first time, but
just this type of comments too I would remember because those are right up my alley. So
welcome, Rusty Wiener. Welcome aboard. Hope you stick around, guys. If there is anyone who is joining us for the first time today, or even if you're a regular, please remember to like and share the content here on X or on YouTube. There's a reason why we do this show live, and it is because the show is built on interaction with our audience. So if you have something to say, if you agree with me or Nico or disagree, throw it in the comment box and we will get to it. Jason says, "Just so I understand what's happening here, conservatives are blaming Trump for the loss." Yes. And they're essentially giving Poilievre a pass. And we got some videos we're going to play here in a second, and then we'll dig into that. But that is, to me, that's what I see mostly. But there is a sizable contingent that's willing to put the blame where I believe it belongs, but a lot of people are looking. I don't understand the desire to defend Poilievre here. He didn't even win his fucking seat, man. Like, that's an embarrassment.
I've been saying it from the get-go how weak he is, and I'm a conservative. He does not represent me. He did not deserve my vote because he is weak. He's weak sauce. He's absolutely. I expect my son's diaper to be filled with weak shit like what Pierre Poilievre is made of. That's why I
puppy shit.
My kid ain't a puppy, bitch.
No, I said soft like puppy shit. Poilievre there.
Yeah, well, Polly shit. Yeah, okay, I get you. It's just I've said this from the get go, and you get the same feeling. He's not likable.
No
and
charisma.
I'm not saying that
right?
I like Mark.
No
Carney,
charisma.
Mike Carney is a completely different state. Like, to me, that guy's evil. I look in his eyes and I'm like, that guy scares the shit out of me. But Pierre Poilievre is just weak sauce. He's just weak sauce. Like his little, I lost my belly, gained a couple of pounds, or somebody, like, you know what I'm saying? What we were talking about yesterday, the image. He lost glasses, lost a bit of fat, got leaned up a bit. Look,
the Clark Kent makeover.
That is such a great analogy. But yeah, it didn't work for him. His mouth did not follow suit.
Yeah. He doesn't have that sort of charisma. I'm just gonna jump ahead and take this one from JS. You're all shit. The worst takes. As I said a few minutes ago,
Why?
Even if you disagree with us, we're happy to see a comment. But yeah, JS.
Why?
What's your like? I guess I assume you're happy with how yesterday went. Give us your take on it. We're always,
why? Yeah, tell us why, because I get called full of shit all the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of this.
Fine. Just tell me why, though. Please, at least tell me why.
But yeah. Let's tell us about what your take is here. You know, we're going to engage with you, especially if you do it respectfully. LinkedIn user says our country is deeply divided. That is absolutely correct. Memorino says yes, the fear aspect is ridiculous. Cheryl says that just doesn't make sense, and they are both referring to the video we just showed, where this boomer woman was just saying fear, like pure fear by Poilievre. I don't understand it. You know, if someone were to say, "Oh, they're terrified of Donald Trump," I wouldn't agree with that, but I could kind of get where they're coming from. But Poilievre, fucking Pierre Poilievre, he is the least fearful guy. There's nothing he's ever said that suggests he's taking away anybody's rights. He's going after anybody. I don't get that one at all. Memorino, MK Ultra over the entire country. Yeah, it kind of seems like it. Jason, remind me on who shut down the truckers' protest. Remind me who debanked people for free speech. Am I getting this wrong? Was that the conservatives or the liberals? Yes, it was the liberals.
And if you don't know, Jason's American.
Jason's American. So that was liberals, and it was specifically it was Chrystia Freeland, who was the minister of, I don't know what she was, but she was the one in charge of doing the debanking, and she won she won re-election by a significant margin yesterday. Yes, she did.
She did, and that's what I thought. Yeah. God, she was celebrating, and I'm like, I can't even listen to her. So I couldn't watch the video. I couldn't bring myself to watch the video. She irritates me to no end. Like, I cannot stand that woman. The way she talks, the way she moves, the way she is. I've seen so many videos of her like she's on drugs or something. Like she has nervous tics, and she's just like
just twitchy, right? Super twitchy. Yeah.
You know, put a Halloween costume of a witch on her, and she needs no makeup.
Or what's that? Remember the Dave Chappelle skit where he's the crackhead?
Oh yeah.
Oh, goddamn.
Yeah, goddamn. Yeah. But that woman, I blows my mind how people can vote for that. I don't get it. Yeah. I really don't understand it.
Mr. Robot says, "Hey everyone, good morning, Mr. Robot, to you. How are you feeling this morning?" Well, he says here, "I'm still processing what happened yesterday." And Cheryl says, "I am too." It does seem to be like, a little bit of. Was anyone surprised? Was anyone really surprised or disappointed? For sure, I get that. Was anyone surprised? I'm curious. So Cheryl says, "Jason, I'm not blaming Trump. I think there was foreign interference."
What do you consider? You know what, Cheryl? What is foreign interference? Are you saying like the voting machines were changed?
Interference can happen through propaganda as well. I mean, yeah, that's going to happen. I think at the end of the day, I think people vote, like I do believe that was the country's vote. Could things have been swayed one way or the other? Yes. But I think if you ran it again and it was completely like, if you could wave a magic wand and make it completely, free of any type of interference, I do believe you'd have the same result. Maybe different tallies or totals, but I think you'd have the same result. I think
that's a question. That's a question for Cheryl. I get what you're coming from, and it's hard for me to disagree. But at the same time, I'm just curious to understand what she means by interference. Do you just mean propaganda? Do you mean like CBC spreading a message that is just pro Carney the whole way through? Do you think China spent money on ads to sway people? What do you mean by interference? Because that could mean a million things. Interference, technically, you could say that Trump calling for the 51st state could be interference. So what do you consider interference?
Yeah, I mean, and there was that thing there was I believe it was CSIS put out that warning that China was doing some of the social media influencing for their Chinese nationals, and I've no doubt that stuff happens, and I'm sure that swayed some votes too.
Look at the writing for Pierre Poilievre that had 91 people on the ballot.
Yep.
And I have to check, but I was told, I'm not sure if that's correct or not, and I invite our listeners to correct me, please, if I'm wrong. But it costs something like 20 grand to be put on that ballot. So how the fuck-
Yeah,
like how, and that is one
who's doing that?
organization.
Who's
Remember,
doing that, right? Yeah,
it was one organization that was responsible for doing it. They were clear about it. CTV News talked about it in one of their articles, saying that it's one organization that did that on purpose. Who the fuck has money for 90 candidates at 20 grand a pop? That's why I'm saying it's very hard for me to believe that there hasn't been some type of interference.
Mm-hmm.
But where you and I will agree is, I still believe that without it, Canadians are so scared that they would have voted for Carney. That's why that video to me was brilliant. What she said is exactly what I believe. The people that voted for Carney did not vote for a change. They voted out of fear to not get that change. So they voted against change, while conservatives voted for change.
Fear of change, right? And I guess
fear of the person that's bringing the change.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not even rational fear. Like, it's not like there's an actual reason to be afraid of fucking Pierre Poilievre. That's pure brainwashing.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Nick says, not necessarily Trump specifically, this is the question of the day, but his rhetoric about making the Canada the 51st state was used by the Liberal campaign and the MSN to create, again, there's the word of the day, a lot of fear. A lot of people didn't want to be American. Yeah, I think Nick hits it on the head here. That's how I feel. I think, so like, if you want to say if you want to use that to blame Trump, I guess, sure. But I feel like rather than use the word blame, I think factor works better. That was certainly a factor, a huge factor. And it was taken by Liberals and Carney, and
that was their whole platform.
That's
literally their whole platform.
To create an environment of fear. And there's a reason they do that, right? There's a reason why advertisers create fear. If fear is one of the most motivating emotions ever. It gets you to buy things. And it can be fear of anything, right? Fear that girls aren't going to fuck you, so you have to buy the whitening toothpaste. You've got to buy the special deodorant. You know what I mean? This is just basic human psychology 101, and it absolutely applies to politics as well. And that is 100% what they're doing. Chris Field says, Elections Canada is still counting votes. What the fuck? Yeah, they are. I believe that
you could see it on the map, like the map I was showing earlier. You could see there was still snap, I closed the wrong one. Nice. Let me going back in, but there seemed to be places, that were still kind of either pink or very light blue, like we were seeing yesterday when they were still counting.
Now
so it seems that it's still happening, but do you have something to show?
No, I'm just looking at the actual result. I don't know if the counting is going to change any of the essentially, right now we have unofficial results of 168 Lib seats to 144 Conservative seats and 23 Bloc seats. Those are not official because there's still, as I said, some are being counted. But I don't think, I did take a quick look at them. I don't think any of them are really close enough. Oh yeah, you got it there. Can you, like, if you hover over some of those ridings, or if you click on them, try to find one that's
this one. See Sault Ste. Marie.
Yeah. So if you click on that.
Doesn't seem to have.
So yeah, like
super close, bro.
But what,
that's like 29,000 to 28,000. You're talking about
1,000
difference.
But how many ridings are counted? It should say it's in there somewhere. Oh yeah, under there it says right under James Collins, right there it says what
286 out of 287 poll reported.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's going to be enough to get that
like here's the same, right? But see how close this is.
Yeah, a lot of them are really close.
1,000, and you're looking at 227 out of 228. So, but again, like this is the thing, right? What's the official result? We had it here, 155 to 133, and there's still 24 writing here.
Yeah.
That are.
I wonder how many of those are actually changeable and how many are essentially we talked about this last night. I don't really like how they do, like they should just put them up when they know for sure. I don't like the projections, the way that they do it.
And they're all close. Like every single one of those ridings seemed to be within about 1,000 people.
Well, there was one. Just go over to BC. There's one I saw that was like fucking 50 votes or something.
Bro, right here. Look at this. 48% versus 47.9. And you're literally talking like 60.
We're talking 80 votes, 70
not
votes
even, you're
or something.
50. I know,
That's wild.
It's 18 to 72. You're literally talking less than 50. Like it's 55 votes, 50. It's insane. See, that's probably Kelowna. This is exactly where I am
that's
right
the one
now.
I was
Look
talking about. Look at that. Out of what, 55,000 votes, you've got 800 separating.
I mean, that's pretty funny because this is exactly where I'm at right now.
Oh shit! No, that's not 800. That's 102.
No, that's no, not even. You're talking 80.
Yeah.
Not even 80. You're looking at 70 votes. So you have multiple ones that are within a couple hundreds of votes, and a bunch of them that are around 1,000 votes. So and guess what? If the Conservative win, you're taking one away from the Liberal too.
Yeah, exactly. You'll have a shift of two, basically. Every one will seem like two.
Minus one.
Yeah,
but this is kind of what blows my mind because Pierre Poilievre already conceded. He conceded yesterday.
Yeah, and he seemed he seemed like kind of cool with it, you know. I don't.
This is why the idea. I don't know who said it in the comment earlier that it was controlled opposition. I've told you this before. This is how I don't see how else Pierre Poilievre could have fumbled that bad. Because as much as you can have TDS, as much as you can blame Trump, did Trump have an impact? Obviously.
Sure.
Obviously. Sure. If they didn't, Carney wouldn't have ran his whole platform on the fear of Trump if Trump didn't have an impact. But does that mean that Pierre Poilievre has no blame to take for this? No, he has a lot of blame to what he did because he was weak from the get-go. And he never stood for anything. That's why he fumbled so many times. I'm like, can you be that bad without doing it on purpose? And I'm not saying he did, but I'm definitely not saying he didn't do it on purpose. Because
it's like we were saying, you never know for sure. And I'm less inclined to assume. I'm always going to assume incompetence before that kind of like just intentional. However, if he was trying to throw it, he would do exactly what he did. So that's
my point. What you're saying right now is exactly my point. As much as I believe that, after this he was probably controlled opposition. Do I have proof? Not really. But is it that hard to believe? That it is is it hard to admit that there's a possibility? Even if you don't think that it happened, can you really deny it considering how he acted? And if, again, like I've said before, if your goal was Carney to win, and Pierre Poilievre had a role to play. Let's assume that that's the case. How would he have done it? He did a pretty fucking good job. The way he did it would. So.
I agree. It happened.
Who knows? Is it hard to believe that it did? No.
So we'll just. So Chris Fields also says Minister of Finance. Without talking about Chrystia Freeland, that was the position she was holding.
Yep.
Coke does that. He's referring to
I'm thinking.
Why she's twitchy.
Oh, yeah.
And he ends that with, I am an angry Canadian today. I think that is a common sentiment. Guys, if you are out there listening, please be sure to hit like and share. Especially if you believe, as we do, that there's a place, especially now, for this kind of a podcast. We are political orphans, people who are just kind of disgusted with the state of politics. I am a lefty, I'm a liberal, traditionally a common sense one. Yes, we do still exist. Nico is our in-house conservative, and we approach all these issues from a common sense perspective. We make room for, as long as you show your work, as long as you can back up your point, you've got a place here. We're never going to make you feel silly or stupid because of your take, even if we disagree with it. That's what this whole everything we do on the show is all about that. So please, if you do like the show, remember to like and share, and also comment, because the show is built on audience engagement. As you can see, that's essentially, we've got our topic list we talk about, but we're always going to prioritize our audience comments first, and then we get.
I showed one video.
Yeah.
In 50 minutes. I have a bunch more. One video, but I can take this type of conversation over anything else because this is what matters to me. I want to hear what people have to say. I want people to call you out, call me out, and have a conversation about it, because that's the point.
100%. And I see we're getting quite a few. We have quite a few viewers from our YouTube channel right now. So please remember to subscribe if you're over there. We're really trying to build this up on YouTube. I think that's probably the best format for this show here. Cheryl says, Nico, the CPP. She's talking about, of course,
about
interference. Yeah, and Chris here agrees. Beijing
saying the same thing.
Yeah, Beijing interference. He agrees.
And I believe it. I believe it. Like, we've had a problem with Chinese infiltrating Canadian government for years. This is not a conspiracy theory. You can go on Google and you will have articles from the CBC and CTV News talking about this. That there's a lot of MPs under the Liberal Party that's been under investigation for being related, married, in cahoots with CCP member or CPP member. Sorry. So, yeah. Again, is it that hard to believe? No, because the proof is there. Now, to which extent did they? This is the thing, right? To which extent did it happen? Did they just fear people into voting Liberal? Did they reprogram the counting machine? Did they burn ballots? You know what I mean? Like, what are the steps that people believe? And the further up you go, the harder it is to believe. Obviously, I get it. So, but nobody can tell me that they did not interfere in the fear. Trump, that they did not put, like, who paid for those 90 people to be on the ballot?
That's a lot of money.
In Pierre Poilievre's county, in Pierre Poilievre's writing. So you can't tell me that you and I just went around at 20 grand a pop and just woo, 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 woo. We started. No, there's an organization with money behind this that actually took care of this. Why? Who are they backing? Who's backing them?
Yep, that's good. That's a good question. Because I mean, what is that? 90 people by what? $20,000 a pop?
I'm gonna confirm right now how much. If you want to take the comments, I'll see how much it costs.
Yep. So Therese Mopan says Trump was not the problem. Head in the sand and not having your own set of balls is the problem. Yeah, I think a lot of the blame on Trump. I mean, Trump is a factor for sure. There's no doubt about that. But you can't blame that. You can't say that was. You can't use that to absolve Poilievre of blame because he ran a terrible campaign. It was his to lose and he lost it. Like there's just no other way around that. Jesse Swarbuck says, along with the Trump fear mongering by the Libs, they had Jagmeet purposely tank his campaign. And party to send all those votes over to the Libs. Now he gets to ride off into the sunset with a pension. Yeah, I mean. He did. And that's one of our sort of sub topics or sub stories. There's a couple stories that we've been following just as we were watching last night, and just the destruction of the NDP was one of them. It's a great deal for Jagmeet Singh. I'm not sure that it is for the NDP. If I was the NDP, I'd probably feel a little bit upset because that party is cooked right now. They've got 7 seats, which means they are official party status is granted to any party with 11 seats or more. So they have had that for as long as I can remember, decades. And with that confers significant benefits, especially for a smaller party. First and foremost, funding. What do you get? $20 million or something from Elections Canada? You get something along those lines. Some amount of funding, and you're also going to get support and a bunch of other stuff that the NDP really cannot afford to lose. So I mean, at least Jagmeet's got his pension, but he. If I were the NDP or an NDP loyalist, I'd be a little bit upset with it. Canada Bud said, no, he doesn't, in all caps. I assume this is a reference to you don't think Trump deserves any blame. Your thinking is the reason why he lost so many votes to other parties. You're going to have to clarify that, please, Canada Bud. We're just asking the question here. I don't think that, I'm not sure if we're necessarily on the same page. I'm not sure quite what you're referring to, but please clarify that, and we'd love to respond to that. Mr. Roma responds to that. He says, "Exactly, my friend. It's a huge problem. Ontario, Quebec pretty much decide the election for who will govern the nation." I wonder if I'm missing a comment there, but he's responding to this one here where he says too many seats in city center clusters. That configuration is very prone to bias group thinking. Yeah, that's certainly an argument you can make, is that the city center have too many votes. I saw something today where it showed how I think Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, basically the Atlantic provinces, have about the same number of seats as Alberta, even though they have like half the population. So, I mean, if that's another reason why, if you're Alberta, you might feel like a bit pissed off with. Definitely, the system does not seem like it is geared towards Alberta being successful, and I think a lot of Albertans are really, really starting to feel that, if they haven't already. Elvia Monty says President Trump will destroy Carney. There won't be any jobs for Eastern Canada. Don't come to Alberta. Yeah, I think. I guess I don't know. We're gonna play some things later. I'm gonna play Carney's victory speech. One thing I really didn't like, he seemed to be, and this is kind of what you were saying, Nico. His whole campaign was about division, right? Fear and division.
Fear. It's all
fear
about
and division. And he continued doing that in his victory speech. I really didn't like. He said America is trying to take our land. He was really seemed like he was trying to demonize all of America. And I'm thinking, look, man, right now, America does not necessarily agree with Donald Trump the way he's going after Canada. Right now, America is not our enemy. But if you keep acting like this, you are going to make the entire country our enemy. And that's a huge problem, because, right now America does not believe that they are our enemies. But if we keep talking like that, they will. And that's not good. That is not leadership.
But that's not even that. You're pushing it even too far. Like, it doesn't need to go that far. Trump's not responsible for destroying our economy. The liberals are. Plain and simple.
Yeah, and that's a separate issue.
Stop with the bullshit. Stop. But this is what it should all have been about from the get-go. Fuck what Trump is saying. Focus on what matters. The liberals have destroyed our economy. Our GDP hasn't grown in 10 years. Why? Liberals. Our crime rate is as high as it was before Harper took power. Why? Because the liberals' policy are soft on crime. Those are the problems that we need to address. Yet we blame Trump for being in power for 3 months. Trump has not destroyed our economy over the past 3 months. He hasn't. He has not. Has he made it sound like he might? Maybe. But has he? No. So stop with the bullshit. Blame the liberals. This is all he did. It blows my mind that people are so gullible/stupid. It's very hard for me to believe that the woman that I showed in the video earlier is a good majority of Canadians. It blows my mind that people actually believe that they are capable of looking at CBC. Remember what I said yesterday, what I caught the CBC woman say live on air when she said we only need another 12 seats to win a majority. I'm like, excuse me? I thought you get $1.4 billion of our money every year, and now you're telling me that you literally admitted on air to represent the Liberal Party. You're fucked. You admitted. You're not unbiased. So this is the point here. CBC has literally won the election for the Liberal Party. That's basically what I'm seeing.
And I actually, that woman that said that last night, I'll quickly show it here, because I found another clip of the coverage last night where she did the exact same thing.
Hold on, let me remove this.
Just remove that.
You need to re-add yours,
okay, here we go. So she's talking, this was at the very beginning when I believe at first
it was 21-11.
Yeah, it was 21-11. So I think the very first polls came in from Charlottetown, and it looked like it might have gone conservative, but then it shifted back. And she's like, "Oh, I'm very relieved to see that Charlottetown's like not even trying to hide her bias." This is CBC News.
9:30 Eastern. We've had one additional poll close in Les Îles, La Madeleine, Gaspésie, and we'll have another big dump of them at 9:30 Eastern, of course. But let's go to Adrian, who has some results. Adrian.
Well, I'm very relieved to see that Charlottetown is okay.
Good.
We're getting first results from Charlottetown. Let's have a look at that. The incumbent.
We've had one additional.
Like, do they not understand? Like. And then they're shocked. They're shocked.
Can you honestly tell me that they're an unbiased source of news for the people?
And then they're shocked when people say the CBC is biased. Like, what do you mean? You just said you clearly you're very relieved, and your definition of okay is that they voted liberal.
The liberal winning.
That's your definition of okay. How is that not biased? It's insane.
It worked. But it worked, and I guarantee you that the people, when I said it yesterday, I caught you off guard. You're just like, no, she didn't really say that.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. And
Yes,
we should try to find that, because I haven't seen that clip anywhere on social media. I've seen this one here, and there might even be one more. But that
No,
one,
because people like you and I that were talking about the politics from a common sense perspective yesterday, we're not
Yeah.
showing CNN or CTV
yeah. That's
yet.
right.
But this is what I wanted to show, because those are the people we're funding. This is
Yeah.
where our money. Why would I show Rebel News, for example, if I could show you what my taxpayers' money are paying for?
Yeah. Canada,
And
but
I'm not saying that I shouldn't hold on. I'm not saying that we shouldn't show Rebel News. I'm just showing. I wanted to show the hypocrisy
yeah.
of the left, as in. Oh,
Well, you knew
we
something.
avoided losing that, right?
Yeah. Good thing they're okay.
Are
Good
you
thing
not
they're okay.
reporting the news?
Yeah.
Clearly, you can't call yourself a journalist or a reporter, because you're not. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a reporter. I'm a commentator, and I'm the first one to admit it. Those two women there are commentators. They're not reporters. They're not journalists. Stop fucking lying to the people and stop taking our fucking money.
Canada Bud 23. There's a great comment, because this actually jives with something that we were noticing last night, or discussing last night.
Oh, that's dangerous what you're asking for there,
Yeah,
bro.
he says we can still push through if the Bloc will help. So the big winner last night is the Bloc Québécois. They lost
100%.
9 seats, and yet now they are in a position to be kingmaker. They can pick or choose. They could pick Carney and Carney to be prime minister, or Poilievre. They can literally pick and choose, and they can just go to whoever's going to give them sell their services to the highest bidder, and that's the Bloc. That's what they do.
The Quebec sluts of
that is
the Canadian sluts of Quebec.
Yeah.
There you go.
That
but you're absolutely right. The biggest winner yesterday
was the Bloc.
Was the Bloc Québécois, because now they have the power to veto pretty much anything they want. And they have now their services are up for grabs, and they don't care. They just want to make what's better for Quebec. So I was thinking about that yesterday, and I was thinking about it this morning, and talk about spitting in the face of Alberta even more.
Yeah.
Because who's one of the biggest Alberta haters are Quebec people.
Yep.
And now they have more power than Alberta does. Literally everything that happened yesterday is just, when you're playing softball and you're just giving it to a kid, you're just like, oh, I'm going to throw it right down the middle, super slow. That's what we've done to Alberta yesterday. It's like, there's a separation baseball bat. And then we're like, hey, hold up. Let me softball throw that. Let me ride the picket. Just take it. Take it. We've done everything possible to piss off as many Albertans as possible yesterday. That's what we did.
Yeah. It's you couldn't have scripted it any better if that was your goal. But yeah, essentially, the Bloc is essentially in the position where they alone can choose the next prime minister. Yeah. They could even do something like support the Liberals for a year or two, extract a bunch 100%. Of shit, and then go to the Conservatives, be like, hey, you want to be prime minister now? Call for a vote of no confidence, and we'll vote for you, for your leader to be prime minister. Who that leader will be remains to be seen.
Blanchet this morning, I'm telling you, he won his riding, and
he was like the Cheshire cat, right? Ear to ear, baby. Ear to ear.
And it's scary, man. I'm from Quebec, and it fucking scares the shit out of me what that guy can do with that power. He literally controls government now.
Well, it means more money, more billions for Quebec. And you know what's funny is that's going to come from Alberta. For the most part.
That's exactly my point. Yeah. If we wanted to piss off Alberta yesterday, we've accomplished. If our goal was to, how can we make sure that Alberta wants to separate that election? There you go. Yep. There you go.
100%. Jesse Swarbuck says Carney is going to bribe Quebec to have the Bloc on the sides. What I'm thinking, correct? 100%. But again, they can extract a bunch of shit from Carney, and then when
they don't care. When they're not liberals and they're not conservative. Yeah. Give me. I don't care who you are. Just give me.
Yeah, they're in a great position because, like the NDP, just ideologically speaking, they would never be able to prop up the Conservatives. Their base wouldn't allow it. But the Bloc can. The Bloc could prop up either one. So they have so much flexibility. They can just they can go to each leader and say, what are you going to give us? And then whoever offers more is prime minister. And that is fucking wild.
I said yesterday, Pierre Poilievre obviously is going to get replaced.
Yeah.
And the new Conservative guy better have a really nice set of lips. There's going to be a lot of ass kissing that's going to be required from whoever takes power.
I agree.
For the Conservative.
100%. You want to read this comment? Because it ain't going to be me.
Jonathan Dubois, pays à vendre, avertissement, stupide boomer, gauchiste, bobo. Oh, Jesus.
Okay, right.
Autodestruction du pays programmé. Merci les boomers de merde. Okay, that was French. Now let's say it in English. Country for sale, advertising, stupid leftist boomers. Bobo could be like.
Honestly, I know what he's saying. I know what he's saying, even without
Auto
the translation.
destruction of our country has been programmed. Thank you to these fucking boomers.
Yeah.
I think that's as well as I can translate it for you,
Yeah,
Mr. Jonathan Dubois.
Honestly, I kind of got that even without the translation.
All caps.
Yeah, all caps. Stupid boomers. Yeah, that's all I need to see. That's all I need to see.
And you know, bro, Jonathan, I feel you, man. I feel you. It's, to me, those are who, you know, in Canada, in the US, it was men that gave the election to Trump. This time it was boomers that gave it to
Carney.
No doubt. We are really
doubt.
seeing such a small identity of people in Canada holding all the power. And yet those boomers are the most leftist people that we have. They all believe in DEI. They all believe in the crap that's being pushed by very woke left. And now they have all the power. Like what they avoided in the US, we just doubled down in Canada. So I understand why guys like Jonathan is that pissed off about it, all cap and calling. I feel you, bro. I get you, and it's hard to disagree with you. It's very hard.
100%. Elliot says, well, at least it's a minority government, so Mark can do no more damage to our country than what Justin did. Yeah, I mean, silver linings, I guess, as Elliot says here, silver lining.
But whatever's good for Quebec, Quebec will do. So as much as it's true, I feel you. You know that there's going to be an alliance that's going to have to be formed with the Bloc, and both the Conservative and the Liberals know that. They're up for sale right now because they can align with both. Like you said, they're not like the NDP. That's why the NDP, you knew they would always go on the left side. This is prostitution 101.
They'll go either way. They don't give a shit.
And they can interchange. On one, they're going to vote Liberal. On the other, they're going to vote Conservative. They don't care. If the Conservatives or the Liberals are smart, the first thing that they did as soon as they saw that, they picked up the phone and they started kissing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'd be in Montreal right now. No, but as much as I hate to say it, it's still a reality that the Bloc Québécois is the one who won yesterday.
Yeah. They were the big winners, no doubt. They have so much. They have more power than they probably have in their history. They
while losing seats. This is the part that blows
while losing seats. That's wild, eh? Talk about failing upwards. Holy hell, that's
failing upwards. That's good.
You can't beat that. Canada Bud says we need Poilievre back on point as quickly as possible, or Carney and his Trudeau MPs will try to talk over the debates. Not sure.
I don't think Pierre Poilievre has what it takes to be the Conservative Party. They're going to have to replace him with a guy that is a strong conservative.
What do you guys think is going to happen here? Because I don't see how he can stay on. He lost the seat. Do you guys think he's going to stay on? Is there a chance? Or is he? I personally, I don't see how he could. If he
I just don't know who can replace him.
Yeah,
like we're gonna we talked about this way before the election result yesterday. He's gonna need to be replaced. If he loses, he's gonna be replaced. So we're seeing Maxime Bernier. I'm ready to bet is no longer the PPC leader.
Yep.
Conservative. Obviously, the NDP. They don't have a leadership anymore. Jackman is gone. The Bloc, obviously, he got reelected. They're okay. The Green, the witch is still there. But the Conservative will have to replace just like the NDP and the PPC.
Yep. Nico, just a quick programming note. Your mic sounds a little choppy there. I don't know if there's anything you can do there. It's not too bad, but just if you want to jiggle it or fucking.
It's wireless, so I can jiggle it all I want, but if it's a problem, I have another pair of headphones I can go grab because my microphone's not working for some reason. So
okay,
is it still the same? You want me to go grab it?
Yeah, just try it. It's a little warbly there. I'll take a couple of these comments anyways while you're doing that. We got a few minutes. Nick says no more Singh. Yeah, Singh's cooked. He lost his seat. That's again, he sacrificed himself and he didn't sacrifice himself. He sacrificed his party. For that sweet pension and politics, right? Elliot, Trump should shut his fucking mouth. Honestly, I don't think Trump gives a shit. I never got the idea that he actually wanted Poilievre to win. I don't think he particularly cares. I don't know what his plan is. I don't think he thinks that far ahead. I just think he's Trump, right? He does his thing. He's like a fucking bull in a china shop. But undoubtedly, the Trump effect was big. It allowed. It was stupid that was a factor, but it was a factor. It allowed the media and it allowed the liberals to run a campaign of fear, and that it was effective. It was clearly effective. Nick says my biggest issue with the Conservative campaign was the grassroots Conservatives who the main party replaced with newcomers. Yeah, I don't know. I think the campaign was just lackluster all around. I didn't see any reason why Poilievre would have got, like, I just didn't think he did well. I see a lot of people on X and like social media saying like, oh, he tried his best, and I'm like, did he though? I don't think he was trying to lose. I didn't see a sense of urgency that I thought would have been natural given the way the polls shifted. I think he was so complacent when it was Trudeau. He just assumed he couldn't lose, and that was obviously not the right assumption.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool.
Yeah, it sounds a lot better actually. Elliot says PP needs a break, but I can see he will run in a by-election. What do you guys think? Do you think he's got a future in the Conservative Party? I personally think he's cooked.
You know, one thing I was thinking as I was going to grab those headphones is he has just like Jagmeet Singh, he has his full pension. He don't need to work anymore. Like Pierre Poilievre does not need to work. He could leave tomorrow. He has his full pension. He had it since he's been 31.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. And you know, like, he's leader of the Conservative Party. He's going to be able to slide into a pretty cushy private sector job if he wants one. That's how these things work. You always get that golden parachute. So Canada Bud clarified he means the other guy said Pierre has a big part of the blame. I mean, I think he's got to share some.
The other guy being me?
Yeah, I think he's talking about Nico.
What did he say?
He was just saying that he disagrees, I believe, if we go back up there. He was saying no, he doesn't. And I think
Can you show the comment too?
Yeah, he said no, he doesn't, and it sounds like he strongly believes he doesn't. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I just think that, like, it's just basic principles of leadership, right? Like, if you blow a lead that badly, at some point the buck has to stop there. Like, you have to take some responsibility there. Of course there are factors, but that is also life. That's how life works. There's always going to be something coming at you that's unexpected. Of course the Trump effect hurt him, for sure it did. And was that fair? No, it wasn't. But a good politician, a charismatic politician, should have been able to parry that, I believe.
You know, at the end of the day, Pierre Poilievre has a lot to blame to take. He does.
I think so too.
He absolutely does. Because remove Trump from the equation, he was still weak. He did not stand for anything. There is nothing. I'm more conservative than Pierre Poilievre is. I'm more right than him. Because he's not Pierre Poilievre, let's be honest here. He's not a real conservative. He's a leftist with a fiscal responsibility. That's it. That's all he is. He does not believe in conservative values. He is just supposed to be the opposition of the liberals. But he did not stand for anything. Carney was able to take his platform and reshape it to his, and it sounded liberals. Why? Because Pierre Poilievre did not differentiate himself from a liberal. He didn't stand up for anything. He had the base to talk about no women. You know, if he started about talking no
women in male sport, or no men in women's sports. That's low hanging fruit.
But that would have changed. Yeah, but that would have changed everything.
And he couldn't do that.
If he had all he had to do, 10 years of liberal. Look at what they did to the economy. Look at the GDP picture that we show him 20 million
again and again.
All he had to do is to show the crime rate going down under Harper, going back up under Trudeau. Conservative, liberal. This is what I'm going to do. The video that he did on Friday, he should have had 50 of those released during the campaign. He did one on a Friday after 7.3 million Canadians had already voted. So no matter what, to say that he has no blame to take is bullshit. It's accountability. Did Trump play a role? Sure he did. Did people vote for the Liberals because they were scared of Poilievre? Yes, but that's his fault for not doing anything about it either.
Yeah.
He could have addressed this and say something about it. I am not Trump. You guys are being lied to by the Liberals. He could have done something if he wanted to. Now, is life fair? Fuck no. But at the end of the day, to say that he has no accountability, that he has no responsibility, that means that we don't believe in accountability anymore. He couldn't even win his own writing.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, like we played a video here as we were doing our show. It came up, and Nico was like, "Oh, this thing just came up." So we watched it for the first time live on air, and when it ended, we were both like,
"Great video!
Where the fuck was that?" I actually was unaware that the crime rate had gone up so much under Trudeau, but the video showed statistics. Right? I'm a rational voter. Show me statistics. That's persuasive to me. I didn't see any of that at the campaign. I didn't see it. Like, you would hear vague, like, "Oh yeah, he didn't, the economy this, economy that," but he should have had a fucking chart that we show on this show at least every day that shows Canada's GDP is lockstep with America's GDP for the last 30 years until literally 2015, and then America keeps going and Canada stagnates. He should tattoo that to his fucking face, and that should have been like, you know, when it comes to that stuff, he talks about a million things a million times instead of talking about one thing a million times. That's what he should have been doing. He should have been factored into the 2 or 3 biggest things: crime, the economy, and just hammered it again and again and again and again. And he didn't do it.
And again, I want to make sure you guys understand that Trump had a role to play. Of course he did.
Of course.
But people chose to be scared.
Yeah.
You cannot really force somebody into submission if they're not scared. If they're not scared, that's a personal choice. They took the choice to be scared. To be scared of Trump, and that is what Carney ran his whole campaign on.
And
Poilievre could have done something about it. He could have gone out loud and just say about these guys, "Don't believe what they're saying. I'm not Trump. There's no reason to scare me. I'm not trying to take your abortion rights away. I'm not trying to take your gay rights away. I'm not your gay marriage away."
A big thing. I heard that all the time from my liberal friends.
Would it have been for him to just address it every single time it takes? You know, when he did in that small interview with Jasmine Lane, at the end. So why did he do it on a small podcast like hers compared to doing it on a massive platform? And I'm not saying she doesn't have an audience. That's not what I'm saying. But he had the chance to do that on, why didn't he do it on 20 podcasts like hers? Why didn't he hit every single podcast out there, liberal, conservative, who cares, and talk about this, address those points, saying, "Guys, I'm not here to take your rights away. I just want us to be out of the shitter and to fix the economy that the Liberals have destroyed. I want to make sure that your kids are safe at school. I want to make sure that you don't have to worry about leaving your fob outside your house because there's so many people doing home invasions in Toronto trying to steal your house, trying to steal your car." There's so many things he could have done. He chose not to because it would have meant he needed to take a stance. And Pierre Poilievre does not take a stance on anything. He ran a soft campaign and he paid the price.
As you said, you know, he tried. He played to not lose, and
100%.
that's never. You can't do that when you're down in the polls by whatever he was, 20 points or 15 or whatever it was. And at the end of the day, yes, of course, the Trump effect was a factor, and no, that wasn't fair, and that wasn't his fault. But there's always going to be something like that. There's always going to be some unaccounted for, unforeseen thing that a true leader is going to have to dodge or effectively counter, and he didn't do that. He didn't show. So there definitely are factors we can talk about that, but to say he doesn't deserve any blame, I don't see how we can say that.
You know, it's the same thing as I've said before about what happened during COVID. I had a choice. I chose not to get vaccinated. That was my choice. There were literally consequences to it. I lost everything. I lost my career. I lost my friends. I lost my family. I lost my house. I lost everything over this. But I still had a choice. I took decisions that led me down the path that I'm down right now. So am I going to blame the COVID vaccine, or am I going to blame my accountability? Am I supposed to be accountable? Because I could have said, yes, I'll keep it. I'll continue working. I'll buy more houses like I was doing, and that's it. But at the same time, I need to take accountability. Yes, did I choose the choice? Did I choose to be faced with that choice? No, I didn't. Just like Poilievre did not choose to have Trump pass those comments. But how he acted on them was on him, just like I acted. I could have chose to get vaccinated, and 90% of people did. I chose not to. But that I dealt with the consequences of my actions, but at the same time, I didn't choose it. I didn't choose to be faced with that choice. I just dealt with it. He could have done the same.
Yep, I agreed. Darla Meyer says, blaming Trump for the stupidity of Canadians, LOL. How liberally broken the Wokens are. Yeah, I mean, you can't, to me, there's a lot of cope going on. People who don't want to, you can still like Poilievre. You can still think he won a great campaign, but I don't believe you can say in good faith that he doesn't deserve any blame at all. He definitely, there's things he could have done that he chose not to, that are absolutely responsible for, like, yes, the Trump thing, again, not his fault, and it's not fair, but if that's all it took to take basically a guaranteed win into an ass whooping, then he clearly is not the candidate that we thought he was, or he 100%. Thinks he is. So Chris Field says,
you want to make some video, you want to play some videos, because this is, I think it's one of those days that the comments are just going to be on and on and on and on. So
yeah, let's get a couple videos here, and then we'll take a couple more comments,
because I want to see you have the acceptance speech from
Carney.
Carney, right?
Yeah, do you want to get into that first?
Well, there's a few things that we can talk about. We can talk about Carney's acceptance speech, where he's blaming He's basically continuing the tone of his campaign, right?
Yep.
And I also, again, I don't remember who I was talking to for Poilievre not taking responsibility, but he didn't even wait till everything's tabulated before he conceded. Like, just there, to me, again, that's weak. That is so weak. Why are you not fighting this on TV, on your cell phone, if you have to, sitting in your fucking living room? I don't care where you are. Why are you not plastering this everywhere, saying it's not done, we're still counting? Hey guys, I've heard it. You know what Trump did? Like or hate Trump, he never fucking let that go.
Yeah.
Why isn't he not doing the same thing? And again, I'm not a fan, but you have to give him the props that he's a dog with a bone, and he will not fucking give it away. Why is Pierre Poilievre not like that? Because this is what I don't like about him. He does not look like the type of guy that's going to fight for me at all. You see, if you've already conceded, and the writings are not even done, and we found at least 5 that were super close. That could potentially, I'm not saying they will change, but they're so close. Some of them were 60 or 70 votes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real close. So we'll get into that then, because they're actually not that long. I couldn't find the entire speech. There's just several different clips of like.
Yeah, but we don't want to watch the 45-minute speech of Carney's. But if you found a good one with clips, that's perfect.
So here's it's only 30 seconds. This is from his acceptance speech, and I really didn't like this. So we'll play it, and then we'll talk about it.
One of the responsibilities of government is to prepare for the worst, not hope for the best. As I've been warning for months, America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country. Never. But these are not idle threats.
Like fear, right?
Trump
just fear.
Is trying to break us.
They're coming for us.
So that America can own us. That will never ever happen.
You know what I like about this? Let's say that's true. Let's say I'll play devil's advocate, and the U.S. is coming for us. It's those obese idiots that are going to protect me? Or no, but the people that are on stage, never. Okay, bitch. Are you the one that's going to go fight the U.S. military, one of the biggest forces on the planet? Like, you think that they're going to listen to you because you're a liberal white woman? Like, are you fucking kidding me? I love how people get rallied, but you're not the one that's going to be doing the fighting. Have you seen the state of the Canadian Army? Like, are you going to go on the front line? Because they probably take you right now. They'll probably take you. Go fight. Here's an M16. Go defend their car. Go fight for what you believe in. This is what's so idiotic. Those people believe what he's saying, thinking that they're going to fight for your right. No, you got lied to, and because you're scared, you voted for him. Everything he's saying is bullshit. And if
Yep.
it wasn't, let's say it wasn't, which I don't believe it for a second, but let's say it wasn't bullshit. How the fuck are you going to stop the U.S. again? Please explain that to me.
Well,
You're going to
yeah, of
scream
course.
from you're going to scream from your condo in Toronto.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there's
Bitch,
nothing.
please.
If they wanted to take us, there's not a whole lot we can do about it. I don't like the divisive rhetoric. It is not in our interest
But that's all you got.
to have America believe that we are their enemy. Right now, they don't. Right now, most Americans are not super thrilled about the tariffs against Canada. They are against China, but not Canada. But this is a real good way to turn them against us. And it's not in our interest to have the American public believe that we are their enemy. So I've got one more clip in that same vein from the same speech. Here he talks about the relationship between America and Canada.
President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us. That will never, ever happen. But
what are you going to do, Mark? What are you going to do if they really wanted
we
to?
also must recognize the reality that our world has fundamentally changed.
It has.
Once
You
again,
know what?
we're
He's
once again
absolutely
at
right.
one of those hinge
Yeah.
moments of history.
He's right.
Our old relationship with the United States, a relationship based on steadily increasing integration, is over. The system of open global trade, anchored by the United States, a system that Canada has relied on since the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped deliver prosperity for a country for decades, is over. These are tragedies, but it's also our new reality. We are over the shock of the American betrayal, but we should never forget the lessons.
But you're going to take us forward.
We have to look out for ourselves. And above all, we have to take care of each other.
Yeah, and it's just more that it's just I don't like the anti-American rhetoric. Like, it's one thing, criticize Trump all you want, sure. Leave the American people out of it. It is not in our interest for the American people to tell them that we are their enemy, because we are not. They are. I do not believe that our close relationship with the United States is over. Just because one president did one thing, that does not necessarily mean it has to be over. But one thing that will make it over is if you've convinced the entire country that, yes, we are your enemy. And I just do not see that as in Canadian interest to have. Of course, we can't be a doormat, but you can repair a relationship. It's like a marriage of 40 years, getting one fight, and you're like, well, it's over. Let's divorce. Like, repair the fucking relationship. Show some leadership. Don't just say, well,
no point does he take accountability for his responsibility in destroying our economy.
He won't do that.
Trump did not destroy our economy. You did. Your party did. Your advices that you gave to pretty boy Justin Trudeau did. You did, not Trump. But they don't take accountability for this whatsoever, and then they blame the U.S. You know what he's going to do? It's basically, he said a couple of things that this is a change, that something is changing. He's 100%
He's right there.
But he doesn't have the balls to say it, because Mark Carney, don't underestimate a guy like Mark Carney. That guy's very intelligent. He is what Justin Trudeau wasn't, intelligent. That guy's evil as shit. That guy scares the shit out of me because he's so fucking smart and he's so fucking connected as the globalist. Like, and again, this is not a conspiracy theory. He talks about it himself. He calls himself a globalist banker. But the point of the matter is that he's smart enough to know that everything he's saying right now is going to cause one thing and one thing only: separation of Alberta. And this is what's going on. Trump, he doesn't have the balls to say that. Trump does not want Canada. Trump wants Alberta. If there's one place that he wants in Canada, it's fucking Alberta. You're not going to import the equivalent of California in population into your system to make sure that it gets even woker than it is right now. Not going to happen. Trump does not want that bullshit down south. He wants Alberta. If there's one place that he wants, it's Alberta. And the worst part is, I can tell you that it looks like he might get it, because there are conversations that are going on between Alberta. Jason was talking about them yesterday, between Alberta and the U.S. right now. We don't know what those conversations are. I'm not part of those convoys that are going there, but he alluded to the fact that there are conversations. Are they going to support the independence of Alberta, because those are the two choices that we're seeing right now. Because Alberta, in my opinion, is done. They're leaving. We're gone. They're not going to be part of Canada. We're going to see a new fractional Canada over the next year or so. So Mark Carney is right. There's something that's going to happen. There's change in the air. But man, is he not telling the truth. He is not saying to the East what's actually going on, because there's so many people like you and I that until recently, over the past few months, that we've learned so much about the West. And we're like, God damn, is that how you guys feel?
Yep.
And it is
And
how they feel.
And you can't blame them. You know, the way they've been treated.
I'm surprised that I'm surprised they lasted this long. Like, if I gotta give them patience,
the fucking saints that they stuck it out this long.
But now Carney is giving them all the ammunition that they need in order to secure that separation, to make sure that they do separate. And what that's going to do to the Canadian economy, it's going to dismantle it. Like, what the fuck else do we have here?
Well, yeah. And I mean, like I was saying last night, my brother lives in Alberta. He was texting me while we were live. He's a regular guy, just has he works in business, not radical, not really even that political. He said his friends are all texting him, like, people he didn't even know were interested in politics. Now, like, they're all talking about this. They're all talking about, well, it's time to leave. It's time to leave. Obviously, that's just an anecdote. That's not a statistic, but it is. I suspect there's going to be a lot of those anecdotes coming out of Alberta over the next couple months.
Well, and we're going to entertain them on this show, just so you guys know. If you guys want to know more, I'm working right now on getting somebody from Alberta.
I'd like to hear, like, an expert just to talk about this. Tell us how.
Hopefully, I'm able to get this week. I'm really working right now to get him over this week. Hopefully, he has time.
Yeah.
And I want somebody to explain to us the history behind this and what's the sentiment of people in Alberta, because we're not seeing it on mainstream media right now. They're not sharing. You can't expect CBC and CTV News to start sharing why, because remember the map from Canada. Like, let me just show this again, just so to put it into perspective. This is fucking Alberta.
Oh,
like,
it's blue. That's
blue. Like right there. This is Alberta right there. Oh shit. Reset right here. This, we're looking at Alberta right now. Like, look at this. Like, this is blue, 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 blue. There's three little writings that did not vote for them. And what did we look at? Look at those numbers right here. Like 64.9% of people that voted in Alberta. They literally, look at this. There's only one riding. 34 riding were elected for the Conservative Party, one for the Liberal, one for the NDP. So obviously Edmonton Centre, that was elected for the Liberal, has a lot of the population, because they still got, what, 26% of the votes?
Yep.
Yeah, see, 28.3%. But that is one riding. Out of 36 riding, 34 went to the Conservative. If that's not a clear message that Alberta had enough, I don't know what is.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You got to. I mean, the results speak for themselves. Nick brings up something interesting here. Ontario Premier also factored in the loss. Doug Ford has a reckoning coming. I'm not sure what's going on with Doug Ford there, but there's a lot of people that are upset with him. I don't know if he's trying to make. Does he want Poilievre to fail so he can become leader? Because I don't know if that's going to work, because a lot of people are not happy with him right now.
Yeah, because he did not align.
He didn't help at all. Didn't help.
No, he aligned more with Carney than he did with Poilievre.
Yeah, he did. Did you want to play a video or two, or should we take a couple comments? Which way do you want to go there?
Well, there's a couple of videos, because obviously today, like as the title says, like, is Trump to blame for this? And it just, I'm kind of puzzled that I seem to be the only conservative out there that is actually blaming Poilievre for what he did. Like, again,
I'm seeing a couple, but it's not. It doesn't seem to be. A lot of people seem to be making excuses for him, and I mean, obviously, everyone's going to see it how they see it, but I don't think I can agree with that.
There's a couple of videos, so I don't know if you remember this guy, but if you can tell me what his name is, I see him all the time.
Oh yeah. Fuck.
We all know him. If you're in Canadian politics, you've seen this guy before because
Mario something, isn't it?
he does look like a Mario.
Yeah,
I believe
I'm
that.
pretty sure he's Mario.
The Liberals won. They won. And obviously, I'm not very happy about it. I'm clearly disappointed. The funny thing is Carney didn't win it. Trump did. Trump won the election for them with his comments of 51st state, the tariffs. He handed it to them. Pierre Poilievre didn't blow the lead. Donald Trump did. And the Liberal Party, I will give them this. They did a really good job of campaigning on people's fears. And generally when there is a time of conflict, the party in power is the one that tends to benefit. Happens in war. This is no different. This was, to me, economic warfare. Conservatives, be gracious in defeat, regardless of how unhappy we might be. We got to show class. Sorry, guys. It wasn't for a lack of trying.
Yeah. As much as I agree with the part where obviously Trump had a role to play, I don't think anybody can deny that.
Yep.
But he also mentions that Carney did, the Liberal Party ran the perfect campaign, if you ask me. If their goal was to fearmonger the whole way through, they jumped on the opportunity to do it, and that's what they did. Obviously, it worked out for them, obviously. So I agree with that, with both those statements. But the middle part where Poilievre seems to be a victim in this, I don't like. I don't like victimhood. I fucking hate that shit. If there's something he could have done, he didn't do it. And it seems like conservatives are not ready to put that in his face. But how much you want to bet that he's not going to be the conservative leader for too long? Because there's no way people are going to keep faith in him.
I don't know how he can do it. But I mean, it does seem like most of the people I'm seeing, most of the conservatives do seem to be at least cutting them a lot of slack. And I think, there certainly are factors that were outside his control, and that's absolutely true. But that's true in every single campaign ever. You can't use
everything in your life. Everything in your life.
Yeah. Apple Dumpling has a good comment here. Canadians are hopelessly in love with the Liberals. Just keep going back to their abusive ex. Kind of feels that way sometimes. Yeah.
Before you take more videos, I wanted to show another one because we're both fan of Jordan Peterson.
Yep.
And he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, I think, last week.
Yeah.
And he actually talked about this too.
Carney showed up just in the nick of time to save the burning damsel from the train tracks or whatever the hell it is. And
the rhetoric.
And then Trump, he just timed it so badly. And he didn't know. He didn't know what it would do. He didn't know. But that's also...
How do you not know that people have national pride?
Yeah, he knew that, but he didn't know what the electoral consequences would be. He didn't know that would shift them to the Liberals so radically. And he's going to pay for that, because once Carney is elected, if that happens, Trump will not have a more seasoned enemy in the West.
Boy.
Right? Carney's very well connected. Very. Especially in Europe and the UK. Very well. So, and
Europe and the UK is a mess.
Yeah, you might
it's
say
a
that.
Mess.
Oh, that's for sure.
Again,
I don't know. I don't think Trump really gives a shit one or the other. I don't think he's that ideological. I don't think he particularly cares who's the prime minister of Canada. I think he just shoots from the hip. He says what he says. He does what he does. And one of the big downsides to that style is there are unintended consequences. I think Peterson's correct in that it will come back to bite Trump. He will be much better served by having Poilievre in there, if only because Poilievre is probably easier to steamroll. But as he said, Carney is connected, and he has enough sway in Europe that he can be a persistent thorn in Trump's side for sure.
And again, I don't see a problem with people blaming Trump for this. I don't see it. But I don't like that nobody's blaming Poilievre.
Yeah, you can have both, right? You can have both.
This is really what bothers me, is that
Yeah.
they don't admit that Poilievre did not run a good campaign. He didn't adapt. And, you know, at the end of the day, think about it this way. If you have a leader, you know, I did customer service forever. Like, I worked with customers. I didn't pick up the phone for customer service, but I sold very high-end telecommunication services. And you know, the number one reality, our services are going to fuck up at one point. There's a point in time that you're going to be paying us a lot of money in order to make sure that it doesn't break. And guess what? It's going to break one day.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fact.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What differentiated me from other people I worked with is that you could call me anytime. You could call me, I would pick up my phone and I would start helping you right there, even if it wasn't even my job. I was not support, but I cared for my customers. It's all about what you do when shit hits the fan. And Pierre Poilievre had the perfect opportunity to prove the type of leader that he was when shit hits the fan. Do you think that that's the type of leader that you want on the world stage, that can't even handle that in an election cycle? This is what he's showing me. And I'm not saying that Carney is any better. Believe me, again, that guy scares the shit out of me. That guy's evil as shit. But Poilievre has to take the blame that he did not step up to the plate.
I mean, you can't have a lead that big and then just completely flip it without saying, okay, there definitely are some things I could have done wrong. Doesn't mean there weren't factors outside his control. Doesn't mean some of these things weren't fair, but that is life. There has to be some accountability. Has to be some accountability. The Truth Speaker says there is too many liberal sheep afraid of the American boogeyman. Yeah, I mean, that's the theme of the day today is fear. Fear among the essentially the boomers. That is the demographic that won this election for the liberals. And it's unfortunate that fear, because you never want fear to play that much of a role in an election, because fear is not rational, especially this fear of fucking Pierre Poilievre as some boogeyman that's going to do anything to you, take your rights. He's not doing anything. I heard all the time from my liberal friends, oh, he's going after the gays, he's going after gay marriage, he's going after abortion. When I would point out, he very specifically said he's not going out after those things. And he probably took a lot of heat from some people on the right for that. But he very intentionally said that because he was trying to, reach out to people like me, disillusioned liberals, people on the left who are just sort of sick of how corrupt the left has become. And for me, it worked. But it wasn't anything he did. He really didn't win my vote. I just looked at the absolute dumpster fire that is the Liberal Party, and I just said I can't reward the last 10 years of, like, that's historically bad economic performance. Like that's probably one of the worst 10-year stretches of any modern industrialized country in the last 100 years, barring a major war or something like that. And you can't reward that in a fucking democratic system, because there's no incentive. Absolutely no. For me, it's not ideological at all. I know it is, for you and for a lot of people on the right. It's just pure performance. It's that crime chart that you showed the other day. It's the GDP chart we show all the time. It is just absolute terrible performance on some really important issues, and that performance started literally 5 minutes after Trudeau got elected. And it is not just a coincidence. It is a direct result of liberal policies that are not being changed, policies that as the Carney campaign said, they essentially just ran with the platform they had before he even came. So I do share a lot of the frustration here, and sort of the disgust.
There is, I'm just looking at the chat. There is a guy by the name of PC Police that seems to like to spam people. So I don't like to prevent people from talking, but yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously we're obviously going to engage with anybody.
Yep. It's just interesting. PC Police, by the way, it's okay for you not to disagree. I'm not going to show your comments because some of them you're literally calling us names, but all good that you don't agree with us, no problem. But you're not saying much, bro. Like, you're not providing any proof of what you're saying, yet we've been showing you statistics. We've been showing you who Alberta voted for. So to
Anyways,
say that
well,
it doesn't matter, I'm just saying no. But I want to just acknowledge that he's putting a lot of.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's trolls out there.
He is but he is clearly a conservative, a liberal voter. He's clearly from Quebec, just by some of the comments that he's leaving.
Yeah.
But it's true. Some people don't see a problem with globalism. Like some people don't see a problem with Carney not putting Canada first and putting the interest of foreign nation above our own.
Yep.
And you know what? Unfortunately, that is true. Like he's just showing to me what are Mark Carney's voters thinking, and he's the perfect example. So if you want to know who voted for Carney, PC Police seems to be a great example, just like the woman I showed that was scared of the conservative in the first video. And that's their right. Unfortunately, it's their fucking right to be able to do that.
Glenna Jolin says millions of us are heartbroken. For you to imply Poilievre did this to himself is absurd. Trump and Carney fear mongering. Pierre was our hope. I mean, I'm not really sure. Poilievre didn't do it to himself. It's just that he didn't help himself when he should have. I mean, yes, the Trump fear mongering thing, that was unfortunate. That's not fair. And a lot of it is nonsense, right? Based on fear, irrational thought. But there's always, both in campaigns and real life, there's always going to be some unfair thing that happened that you didn't see coming, and you have to deal with it. That's leadership. At some point, you have to take responsibility for results. The buck stops here. And doesn't mean that there aren't factors that went against him. Of course there are, but he should have been able to, like, I didn't see any real effort to counter a lot of these narratives. I never saw one thing. Like, where was all the talk about, why wasn't he hammering the economy? I saw him talk about it once or twice. He certainly didn't hammer it again and again and again and again and again. Every time he opened his mouth, he should have been talking about the economy. Same thing as crime. He should also been talking, I know there's a lot of fear mongering going out there trying to compare me to Trump. I'm not Trump. Here's why. Right? Where was any of that? He just, it seemed like, to me, he was, I don't want to say sleepwalking through the thing, but I don't think he really did enough to counter some of the narratives that were being put against him.
But he played it safe. We've said this from the get-go. We've been saying this since the campaign started. He's not playing to win. He's playing not to lose.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And can you really disagree? Like, I think, what was the name? If you still have the comment, just so that I can address the person directly. But
just from a minute ago.
The one you just took off.
Glenna.
You have to admit that in your life, your personal life, look back in the past 10 years. How many things has happened to you that weren't fair? Did you have to deal with it? Yes. Well, you take a choice, right? You make a choice. You deal with it or you don't. Yeah. Those are your choices. Shit is going to happen. Life is unfair. And as a leader, you need to be able to deal with the bullshit, because this is going to be part of your job. There's no doubt about it. If you're going to represent a country like Canada on the world stage, guess what? Shit's going to happen. Plus, down south, there's a president that's thinking about Americans, and he doesn't care about the rest of the world, what the impact of what he does. He doesn't care. But that's a fact. This is a fucking fact. You need to deal with it. You choose to deal with it or you don't. And if you're my leader, I want you to be able to deal with this, because shit's going to happen. Who's next? There's the other shit that's going to happen over the next 4 years. This is why we have a fucking prime minister, leader of the country, so that he can deal with the bullshit.
Yeah.
That he can deal with the bullshit for us. And he didn't step up to the plate. Plain and simple. He could have done more. He didn't. And he showed it to us with that fucking video on Friday. I wish he never released that video, because it shows to me that he had the capacity to do it. He just chose
it was a great video. It was a great video.
Great video. He could have produced so many of them, because so many people like you that are tired of the liberals could have looked at that video over the past 28 days, 30 days, and just say, oh shit, is it that bad?
Meanwhile,
I didn't realize.
Meanwhile, they're putting millions behind that fucking old men golfing ad. That's not moving the needle. But a fucking ad that starts with the dude's face who looks like a fucking straight out of Central Casting. Like, okay, we need a guy who just looks like a criminal. Here's a guy. This is the guy. And then you're talking he's real. And you're talking specifically about the crimes that he did. And you're showing the actual liberal policies that is discussing exactly the guidance that they're giving to judges, saying all efforts should be to get these people out of basically out of prison with as few conditions as possible. That's on paper. That's a real policy. Like, that's what's going to move the needle. A couple of old men at the driving range talking about their kids is not going to move the needle. So, I mean,
how did he not back you? Remember the videos that I showed of those first-time voters that are making videos for their parents and grandparents to say, hey, you should vote for the Conservative because it's my future and the Liberals have destroyed the economy. You need to do it for me. Don't do it for you. Do it for me. Bro, I would have ran that shit 24 fucking hours a day until people really realize that youth is starting to see that there's a problem. I'm going to fix it. Those were gimmies, man. Perfect pass right down. Like, he's in the end zone. All he has to do is catch it. He didn't fucking do it. He had so many opportunities to shine, and he chose not to.
And just, you know, resiliency is a skill you want in a leader. The ability to problem solve, to deal with unexpected events. Those are all skills that you want to see in a leader. Oh, sorry. Wait, we got from Stu Omson. Just
last time. What's going on, brother?
Appreciate you, Stu. Just chuck us $10. That'll buy us a couple cups of coffee. So we appreciate that.
Well, right now it's 2 Tim Hortons. Give it another couple of months. I'll probably cost $5 more to get 1 cup.
Yeah. But no, we absolutely appreciate that, Stu.
Thanks,
and I guess
Stu.
on that note, guys, if you guys are watching us, please be sure to like and share if you appreciate this show, if you like see what we do. If you're coming to us from YouTube, be sure to subscribe over there. If you're coming to us from X, remember to like and share us over there. That's really the biggest thing you can do to support us right now. That and engage with us. As you can see, you know, the show is based on audience engagement, and for the most part, except for like the troll comments, we're definitely gonna throw up pretty much everything that we see up there.
But I hope for the new viewers that are out there, I hope you guys are seeing that we will engage with your comments, even though we disagree with you.
Oh, absolutely.
This is the thing, because I disagree with Rob all the time. He disagrees with me. I disagree with commenters all the time, but I will always be polite and listen to what you guys have to say. I will challenge you, though. It's not going to be an easy conversation. I'm not going to make it easy on you. But this is the whole point. The whole point of the show is to be able to have those conversations. So thank you for the commenters out there that are not just in an echo chamber and agreeing with everything that I say or everything that Rob is saying. Because at the end of the day, this is supposed to be discourse. This is supposed to be a conversation that we're not allowed to have in Canada anymore.
Yeah.
We want that conversation to enable us to find solutions to the same problem we fucking identified.
Yeah, and if you're just, you know, if you're just the type, if you just want to come and shit on conservatives or shit on liberals, there's a million other shows for that. That's really not what this show is about. We're trying to foster productive debate and healthy discourse. So, and for the vast majority of our audience, you know, we can never praise our audience enough. We have a highly intelligent audience, always keeping us on our toes. And you know, if this is the if you do appreciate this kind of a space out there, this kind of a show, then please just like and share us, like I said, or subscribe to us if you're on coming to us from YouTube. Mr. Robot says, who contributes the most to equalization payments and who is the largest recipient of Alberta and Quebec? And that's actually probably one of the biggest, I think, issues that Alberta is having. And I think the Canada East issue was the number one thing that really sticks in their craw a bit, where you've got, you know, Quebec is happy to take all the equalization dollars from Alberta, which is primarily coming from their oil money. But the moment Alberta needs something to help them increase their GDP and get some more oil out of the ground, Quebec says, nope, sorry about your luck, not going to happen here. But by the way, make sure that check next month isn't late. You know, and of course they're going to feel taken advantage of. Of course they're going to be wondering, what the fuck are we getting out of this? Why, like, you know, they have to be getting a benefit too. If their only benefit they're getting is the right to stay in Canada, which means they have to spend 30% of their GDP just giving it to what is provincial welfare, can we really be shocked when they, you know, a large number of them start to say, you know, this really isn't working for us?
And that's what Stu is saying. Hold on, I think I have his comment right here. So Stu is saying Carney won't last. Who will support him? The separatists. The NDP were destroyed for supporting the Liberals and won't go back. And you know, I don't know if you were there earlier, Stu, but that's what we were saying. We said the same thing when we covered the election yesterday. the Bloc Québécois was the biggest winner yesterday because now they now have the power to play kingmaker, as Rob likes to say. And bro, it's I could not see a bigger slap in the face to Alberta than what happened yesterday. It blows my mind, but there is a chance that the Conservative could use the Bloc to block. Actually, that's pretty interesting because that's probably that should be their new nickname, blockers.
The Bloc,
because that's what you want. Every single policy you're going to try to push in Parliament, you're going to have to use the Bloc not to get blocked, or else they can veto you every single time with the Conservatives. So Quebec is going to get more. It seems that we're doing everything possible to make sure that Alberta's separating. And the next few months are going to be interesting, man. We're going to cover a lot of that stuff. Like, I'm going to keep up to date on what's going on in Alberta because, wow, this is a mess.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Epiphany Jane says, if anything, Pierre was too safe. I think he did great, but I think he did great. I don't know how he could have done better with how biased the mainstream news is. See that I definitely...
He was too safe. I agree with you. I don't think he did great. But we definitely agree that he played too safe, and that's my point. That's the whole point I've been trying to make. I'm a fighter. Like, I used to fight, and I never fought to not lose. I fought to win, but he did not run that campaign. He ran a campaign not to lose instead of running it to dominate. So he did play too safe. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yep. DH says blame Trump, but honestly, it's the Canadian media. I mean, look, if you want to go into like factors of what all the facts are, there's going to be a lot of them. For sure, Trump is a factor. For sure, media is a factor. There's lots of, and if you want to call those that blame, that's entirely your rights. But again, I just it
comes down to fear, right?
Yeah,
you can have all those factors, but you choose to let them define you. Yeah, and this what we saw. So was there Chinese interference? Yeah, I'm sure there was. Did media play a massive role? Absolutely. Did Trump play a massive role? Absolutely. But the people that voted for the Liberals allowed the Liberals to use their fears, TDS, China, whatever, especially Pierre Poilievre, against them. Because if they chose to say, no, you know what, I'm going to go listen to what Poilievre is saying and see, is there something that attracts me like you did? It would have been a very different election. But fear gave the election to Carney.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the if you had to pick one overall factor, it's fear. And that's a powerful motivator. That is a very powerful motivator, whether you're trying to get people to buy your products, and that's why marketing companies do it, or you're trying to get people to vote for your candidate.
What would you rather have, a little girl or a dead boy? Right.
Well, yeah, that's a great example of how they use fear and to manipulate, right?
Yep.
So yeah,
I don't that quote, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I knew what you were referencing there. Chris Field says Pierre was up against CBC, CTV, Globe and Mail. Yeah, the media bias was a thing for sure.
No doubt. Well, you saw it just on the CBC yesterday. Only 12 votes to go in order for us to win a majority. Like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So obviously it was there. No doubt. Nobody's denying that. At least I'm not.
Yeah. Mr. Robot says the system sucks, and I've been complaining about it for years, but nothing changes because the people that benefit from the broken system refuse to relinquish their power. And that's a good comment, and that's true for pretty much all Western democracies. You see, look down south, you've got these fucking not just Joe Biden, but these decrepit senators on both sides of the aisle. Mitch McConnell basically is just a walking corpse now, but he's still a senator. You've got it's very lucrative for them. It's very cushy, and they don't want to relinquish that kind of power and that kind of wealth. And that's what we've talked on the show a lot. I think term limits would be a really good way to fix the problem, Mr. Robot, that you're talking about right here. We've got some more just general dumpster fire.
What's up, wise guy?
Yeah, wise guy. Paul says idiots are to blame. It's idiots. Canadians are the dumbest voters on planet Earth. They're
scared, bro. And I don't agree with it, but man, it's fear. It's all about fear.
Now we got from James Kibbe, we've got Doug Ford is the reason for the loss. you could say he's probably a factor too. I would say a minor factor. But certainly.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Me or James?
No, James. Well, I don't care about your opinion. I hear it every day. So I know you're gonna. I don't need to ask you. You're gonna tell me what your opinion
gonna
is.
hear it. Yeah, whether you want it or not.
So
you're gonna
I'm talking about James. What
Yeah.
makes you say that Rob Ford is to blame for this? Because he definitely is a factor. I think we can agree on that. But to which level? To which extent?
Yep. Misfit FPS says, and the Liberals want to spend even more now. Our election system it needs some reform because our voting is based on per capita, so population dense areas get more seats. I actually am not too familiar with how that works, but if that's something worth looking into, then it's certainly worth looking into. For sure, there should be no areas that are overrepresented, neither rural nor cities. So if that is the case based on our system, then that clearly, if that's the case, that's going to favor liberals in general, because cities are always going to be liberal. They're always going to skew liberal.
You know, the thing I would like to find is the move that happened from yesterday.
Yep.
Today, because we're talking Doug Ford here, so I brought up let me bring up the map I was sharing earlier, because here are the results that they're showing. So you're literally going 49.4% for the Liberals, 43.3%, that's the popular vote, but you've elected 6 and for the Liberals and 47 for the Conservatives, and there still seems to be 13 that are in play right now.
Okay.
So, this is pretty fucking close when it comes to the popular vote. Obviously, the Liberals have more, but I'd be curious. I'm going to check out what's the difference between 2021 and now.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to understand the Doug Ford. Is it that Doug Ford's not a real conservative? He didn't do enough. He backed Carney, or is it that?
I think he refused to endorse Poilievre, I believe, is the big criticism. And I think just in general, he kind of acted like he didn't like him much. I think that's clear. It seemed to me like he was probably. I don't think he wanted to make it look like he was trying to sabotage him, but I think he was kind of trying to sabotage him. I think that he definitely didn't want him to win. I think because he probably wants the Liberals to be in power so they can really shit the bed, so then he can be the savior for the next election, is probably what he's thinking. If Poilievre wins, that whole plan probably doesn't work as well.
Because who said that last time? I don't remember. You or I, whatever, said that would be the intent, that Doug Ford might be. He wanted Poilievre to lose in order for him to go and represent the Conservative Party, take over because they're going to need a new leader. However you feel about Poilievre, I cannot see the leader of the Conservative Party not being able to debate on the floor because he's not an MP anymore. He can be the leader, but that means he's going to have to sidestep every time they're having discussions because he's not an MP. So they're going to have to they're going to have to elect somebody else to represent the Conservative. I don't see them keeping Poilievre as a non-elected official. I don't see it.
One thing, though, is if he was planning on stepping down, he probably would have announced already. Like Jagmeet's already announced he's going to step down. So Poilievre might not be the leader, but it sounds like he's going to have to go kicking and screaming. I don't think he's going to step down.
Or maybe it's just they're doing it the smart way, and he's going to introduce somebody else just to say, hey, guys, this is what's going on. This is what happened. I wasn't chosen, but we need to continue. Here's whoever they choose to represent the party. They're going to have they're going to have an inside election, just like Liberal did. As far as I know, I don't think they can just choose someone. So they're going to have to vote, but at the same time, I don't think it'd be smart for him to just step down right now.
Well, now that I'm reading National Post article, it says Poilievre signals he'll stay as leader but concedes election. So he signaled early Tuesday that he intends to stay on as party leader, touting the gains the party made in an election he ultimately lost. Well, that's interesting. That'll be up to the party, I guess. But maybe it's just that there's no one that can take his place. I can't think of anyone right now.
No, me neither. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be certainly an interesting storyline to follow. Sarah says, I'm from Quebec and I voted Conservative. All my family and friends did the same. It's a sad day for us today that we have to keep going and we have to be united. Yeah, again, common sentiment here that we're hearing a lot. Chris says, if you thought Bill C-63 disappeared, think it again. Oh, that's a great point. It'll rear its ugly head on steroids. Bill C-63 is the hate speech bill, quote unquote, so-called hate speech bill, which of course is just literally going to criminalize free speech or unpopular speech that they don't like.
That the government doesn't like. Let's be honest. It's going to criminalize governments. That's going to allow the government to pick and choose what you can and cannot say.
Yep. And all you got to do is see what's happening in the UK right now. I've seen it at least every other day. There's another clip of fucking 5 or 6 cops showing up at some 60-year-old woman's house, knocking on a door at 2 a.m., demanding she delete tweets or posts she put, or just arresting her and bringing her downtown. It's fucking wild. It's really scary. And if you think it can't happen here, it absolutely can, because it's already happened in the UK.
Don't forget who Mark Carney is. He's a big fan of the UK, and he has all the connections in the world to the UK.
Yeah.
So you know that this type of bill is just a matter of time before it's presented here. Now, are the Conservatives going to oppose it, and is the Bloc going to oppose it? Because again, the Bloc has a lot of power now.
Yep.
They could potentially veto everything if they wanted to.
They could.
It's a matter of knowing
they can crown whoever they want. They could make Poilievre prime minister, which is wild when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
Chadwick says he should have. Yeah, this is a comment. This is something we've said a lot. He said he should have went on podcasts. He was invited on Rogan and others. Patrick Bet David, PBD made a specific post, kind of calling him out, saying, "Why is he not?" He said, "Why are you not coming here? People want to hear it." And I 100% agree. And that directly goes to what we're talking about, where it seemed like he's playing not to lose. He's playing it too safe. It seemed like he just didn't want to be in any environment where he didn't already know what was going to be asked of him, that he wasn't. And I don't like that. If any leader should be able to, you should be able to stop him on the street, and he should be able to defend his positions, his platforms on any issue. Like, this should be their fucking meat and potatoes, their bread and butter.
You know what we're doing right now?
This is exactly
what a leader should be able to. We get hate. Clearly, just look at the comments here. People disagree with us. People pass comments. Some people call us names, and that's fine. That's great. I want that interaction. Why is it that our leader, and that applies to both Carney and Poilievre, why weren't they on every single podcast possible out there?
Yeah.
It is something, if I remember the number correctly, if it was like 37% of Canadians have listened to at least one podcast in the past month. So don't tell me
new media, man. It's a different media landscape.
Don't tell me that this does not move the needle, because it does. He has nothing to do. He doesn't even need to fly out to those. He could do it remotely, like you and I are doing. And I guarantee you, we would have had him on. I can probably name you 50 people right now that would have loved to have Pierre Poilievre on their platform, and he would have reached millions and millions and millions of people, but he chose not to.
Yeah, and so this is actually a good comment. It's kind of feeding into what we're talking about right now. So Jesse says, can you blame Pierre for that? Talking about the media bias, the way the media attacks him, how they mislead their viewees, what he stands for. Didn't matter what he says or does, they're going to spin negatively. You're correct. 1,000,000% correct. You will get none of us are going to disagree with everything he said. But what we were just talking about, one way to counteract that is go on to podcasts, get out there and say speak directly to the people. So that's what we mean when we say he's playing it too safe. There are things he could have done. You can't, like, the media is not being fair with you. Okay, that's not fair. That's not right, but it's reality. It's life. There are things you can do. If he's out there hitting all the podcasts, if he's spending 2 hours on Rogan, if he's doing that, and he still loses, I would have a different opinion. I would say, well, he did everything he could, wasn't enough. I just don't see that he did everything that he could, and he played it safe. He didn't want to be in a position where he might say the wrong thing or might come off, and you can't be like that. Like, we do the show live for a reason, for the audience engagement, but there's a lot of issues we talk about. We probably have 20 20 topics you could list right now, and we could jump into it and have a half-hour debate on them. And because this is what we do. This is our bread and butter. We know these issues inside and out. I would expect the same from anyone who wants to be prime minister. He should be able to just jump on anything and fucking know what his positions are, know what his arguments are, know what the arguments against him are going to be, and have rebuttals to that. That's what a politician should be, in my opinion.
A leader. That's what a leader should be. Fuck the politicians.
Right. Yep.
That's what a leader should be. If you and I are capable of doing this right now, why is he not capable of doing this? Why is the next leader of Canada not able to do this, and especially face people that don't like him? Because this is where he's going to move the needle. If he had the audacity to go on podcasts that were more liberals and take those questions, let a liberal ask you, are you going to take my blah rights away? Insert blah, whatever you want that right. And he could have simply, and who cares if they spin it? They're going to spin it no matter what. Your job is not to try to control the outcome. Just do what you can do to try to influence that outcome. And that influence would have been, he should have been on. If I was the guy taking care of his campaign, I would have told him every single podcast, I don't care that they have 100 followers or they have 1 million, take the 10 minutes. Give them a tiny bit of your time, 10 minutes. Have them ask you some hard questions. Gone. On to the next one. You do a few a day. Take a couple
100%.
hours a day. That's all you do. You're planted just like we are. Here's a DSLR camera. Here's $1,000 for a nice camera. Set up a laptop and start talking. That's it. Just answer. Just go on those podcasts, take their questions, and then you're out.
And you do that enough, and you're gonna go. You'll be comfortable going on any show. You go on Rogan. You'll go on any of these.
That from anywhere. That's the thing. You can't tell me he did not have to fly anywhere if he didn't want to. For one like Rogan, I hope he could have just jumped. That is the one that would have moved the fucking needle, if you ask me. But man, he didn't do enough. Plain and simple. Blame all the outside forces that you want. What he controlled was to step to the plate and run a campaign to win, not run a campaign not to lose. And he chose to run a campaign not to lose. Plain and simple.
Yeah. He doesn't. To me, he just doesn't have that killer instinct. And
I agree.
I don't think he's got it. Cheryl says the question I have is, who was advising Poilievre?
Oh yeah.
Whose pocket were they in? You guys are right. It doesn't make sense. He could have done better. Why didn't he? Yeah. I mean, that's
been my question for the past month, Cheryl. You resume the past 60 episodes. Every time I've mentioned Poilievre in the past 4 weeks, that is exactly what I've been wondering.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is advising this guy? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And is it him? Are they giving him good advice and he's just saying no? Or are they just giving him bad advice?
We don't know. That we'll never know.
Yep. GH says Trump did not elect Carney. It is the misinformed Canadians that allowed Trump to manipulate Canadian emotions. Just take a look at how many Turbans got elected in this new government. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point.
It's all about fear, man. That election should have been called the election of fear.
Yeah, I mean that's the underlying theme. If you want to pick one of this whole election, is fear. I 100% agree with that. Dysfunctional Parrot says Alberta separation got to happen. I mean, I hope it doesn't. You know, I'm in the East Coast. I'm in New Brunswick. I want Canada to stay together, but I understand why they're angry, why they're upset. I understand why they feel like they've been taken advantage of again and again and again. So, I mean, I hope they don't. But Stu, again, appreciate you, brother. He says Poilievre will stay on. Someone will give up their seat and he will take it. He will have a seat in the House soon. I think someone had said earlier up there that there was someone from Alberta already saying he would give up his seat.
Can you actually do that?
Can you give it? I don't. Maybe. I guess you probably can, which seems a little sketchy. Real sketchy. That's an interesting comment from Alex Beauvoir. Quebecer here. Equalization payments is the worst thing that happened in Quebec since Duplessis. It's keeping us dumb and content. It's pretty much the exact same dynamic as what generous welfare programs do to actual humans.
It is welfare.
Yeah, it's provincial welfare, and it's the exact same dynamic. It just removes any incentive to better yourself, because you'll just get fat and happy, fat and lazy on, you know, free money. It's addictive. It's don't get me wrong. It would be very, I can see the appeal in just getting free money, right? But it will never, it will keep you trapped in a I guess a prison of your own making, because we will never have that incentive to go out there and both on a personal level, but also on the provincial level that we're talking about here. That's a good.
But
that's
I
a great-
like a fellow Québécois that's actually honest, because there's not a lot of people that admit to this.
Yeah.
But it is, I completely agree what he said. Completely agree with you, Boisvert. This is bang on. Quebec is a welfare state that is being brought to you by Alberta.
Yep. Like yeah. And of course, I'm sure most Quebecers would frame it differently, like, oh, we deserve it, or this and that. But there's no other way.
As soon as somebody
to look at it.
you deserve it. Oh yeah, I deserve it. Sure you do, fatty. Sure you do.
Yeah, exactly right. Just like all the people on welfare, they will say the same thing.
Mhm.
Wise guy said, I previously mentioned the North American Union brought on by a constitutional crisis. This result brings us closer to that eventuality. Yeah, I remember when you made that comment, and I thought it was
Smart listeners. Once again, we got smart commentators.
Yep. Another great comment.
But to put it into perspective for the people that just listened to what Rob said,
we should probably add context.
So Wise Guy had mentioned a few episodes ago that Canada, the US, and Mexico will probably end up aligning like the euro. So a bunch of different countries that are still individual countries, but under the same
common monetary fiscal policy. Yeah.
Exactly. They have the same money. So basically we could adopt the American dollar. Mexico would do the same thing. We could potentially share the same military. We could share the same security, the same money system. So
it'd be very interesting.
There's options out there. I don't see it happening under Carney.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it would be like the euro. But that's what he's saying. Good or bad, I see good and bad in there. But that's brilliant, because I had never considered it until Wise Guy brought it up a few episodes ago.
Yeah. I thought that was a great comment. Misfit SPS says Bill C-69 needs to be abolished. Why are we? Yeah, 100%. Why are we reporting oil when we sit on one of the biggest oil reserves? Our country could be so wealthy, but we have terrible people managing our country. That's a great comment, and we've talked about that a lot. And we sort of pointed out how Carney's really talking out of his ass on this one, because on the one hand, he'll say the things that sound good, right? Like he'll say that. Yeah, we'll remove the red tape and we're going to build pipelines and that's what I want to do and blah, blah, blah. But when he specifically asked, will you get rid of Bill C-69? He says, no, won't do it. So what he's essentially saying, he's like, we're going to build pipelines. But what he's leaving out is that with Bill C-69 in place, you can't build pipelines. So he's doing that so that when he doesn't fulfill that campaign promise, he'll be able to say, oh, hey, I wanted to build pipelines. But what can you do? C-69
the law.
You got to follow the law, and you know that's exactly what it's going to do. And this, I think, this goes to the heart of fundamentally the liberal problem with the economy. They have a worldview that it is wrong or immoral, in their opinion, to extract our natural resources. They believe that it is, they'll frame it in whatever terms they want to, environmental this or indigenous that. But at the end of the day, no matter how you slice it, they just don't believe that we should be exploiting our natural resources. And for a country whose primary wealth comes from our natural resources, that is a death sentence for our economy.
And by the way, bro, third biggest oil reserve in the world. Not one of the biggest. We're top third.
Yeah,
biggest
behind only what? Fucking Saudi Arabia and maybe
I think it's Argentina, if I remember correctly, and another country, might be the US. I don't even know if Saudi Arabia has that much oil. No, it's just that they're not scared to fucking dig it out.
But yeah, like, we should be an energy superpower. We should be selling our oil our energy to fucking China. We should be selling it to Europe. We should be selling it to the United States. We should be selling it here in Canada. We should not be importing Saudi Arabian and Venezuelan oil.
So
absolutely not.
I stand corrected. Venezuela is the biggest one. I think I said Argentina, but this is Venezuela that I was talking about.
Yep.
So Venezuela has the largest proven oil reserve in the world, followed by Saudi Arabia and Canada.
Saudi Arabia. Oh, cool.
So this is what happens. But see, this
is
what happens when you have a country like Saudi Arabia that doesn't even have the biggest oil reserve in the world, but every time you hear oil, who do you think of?
It's always
Saudi Arabia. Why? Dig. That's why they're not scared to use their natural resources to their advantage.
Mm-hmm. Mary Jane Warkin says she loves Pierre, but he did play it safe. Yeah, I mean
that's all I'm saying. See, thank you, Mary Jane. That is exactly my point. Love him, that's fine. I get it, but he played it safe. You can't say that he's not somewhat responsible for what happened to him.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, exactly right. There has to be some accountability when you lose that badly. You can factor in all the other things. That's fair. That's fine. But there has to be a little bit of the buck stops here. That's just accountability.
Yes, this is coming. He is absolutely right.
Liberals will ban X.
Carney has said it. He's attacked X.
He certainly.
He said that he would do something about it.
He certainly implied it. He absolutely implied it. That's right. In some ways, I almost relish that fight. I think we need to have that fight.
It's not going to be a fight. He's just going to ban it.
I think
there's no fights to be had. The government in the U.S. I was in the U.S. when they banned TikTok, and I have a large following on TikTok. And you know what happened? Nothing. There's nothing you could do. The day you started, the app was not available anymore.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true.
It was blocked. That's it. And already right now, you guys don't see that on X, but I have a following on Instagram. And guess what? There's certain things that I cannot see when I'm in Canada.
Yep.
So because I spend a lot of my time in the US, I follow some accounts that are massive in the US. I create a lot of content for Americans. Yet when I'm in Canada, I can't access that content, and it will say that I cannot access it because of federal law. So they already have that power. He could turn that off tomorrow and say, done. There's not going to be a fight. It's just going to be off. And unfortunately, he can easily convince people out of fear to say the reason I ban X is that Elon Musk owns X. Elon Musk works with Trump. Thus, by association, he's a Nazi, he's a bad person. We cannot allow him to spread a hate. And this is the perfect way for him to introduce a new version of Bill B-63 to say, we're going to go hard on a hate speech. And I guarantee you he's going to use the X platform to put that out there and to fear-monger the same people that voted for him.
I mean, let me say then, yeah, maybe there won't be, but we'll be fighting it. We'll be pushing back. So if you guys think that, we've got a little bit of a platform here, and maybe we'll be the ones to start it. But I'd be out there in streets. I'd be organizing marches. I'd be there if that's what it took. Because I mean, me and you both feel very strongly about free speech. We think that it's
everything. Free speech number one.
And I think both of us would be willing to take to the streets if that's what it took. And maybe
this before, and I'll do it again.
Exactly right. Yeah. And maybe this show will be the home base for that resistance. So
I'll definitely be against it. I can guarantee you that right now, whatever the consequences are.
Yeah. Yep. Jason says there's interference in every election. The question is, was there enough to decide an election? The answer is no. I agree with Jason on that. I think there of course there was some form of interference, but I do believe that what we saw last night is the actual result, and I think the reason for that result is, as we've said again and again, fear. I think fear is the, Sesame Street when they've got the word of the day, and every time they say it, everyone goes, yeah. If you want, that's fear today.
Hard to disagree,
fear.
Man. It's very hard to disagree.
Yeah.
You want to call it a day because we are running 25 over.
Yeah. I was going to say I would take some of these comments, but now I look back and there's a shit ton. Guys,
thank you. First and foremost, guys out there, agree with you, disagree with you. Thank you for your comment. That was great.
Yeah, great. Guys. Again, as you can see, guys, whether you agree with us, disagree with us, throw them in there. We will always get to them as long as we have time. Today we had a ton, so we weren't able to get to all of them. But guys, we appreciate so much you being here. You could have been anywhere in the world today, and you chose to be here with us, and we're always going to appreciate that. If you did like this show, if you saw us for the first time, please like and subscribe. If you hopefully one thing I really liked today that I saw as we were going through the show was a lot of comments with the audience with each other, not necessarily just at us. And that's something we're really trying to develop too. I say it a lot. We're trying to build a community here, not just a show. this show is nothing without you guys. There's a reason we do it live, and it's entirely because the energy that you get from this kind of audience participation. So if you like what we have to say here, if you like this as a space, as a community, as a show, please like and share us. If you're on X, please subscribe on YouTube. We go live every single day, Monday to Friday from 12 to 2. And we just think there's a place right now for this kind of a show in the discourse that there really doesn't exist that I can see. And so we think there's a lot of value here. And if you agree with us, and the best way you can support us by that is liking and sharing, and of course engaging with us in the comments.
Can I show one thing, because he's a friend of both of us. We both like this guy, and I think that is the only comment that I've seen today that I agree with 100%. So thank you for Billboard Chris for saying this. But here he is. If you think the Canadian election is rigged, your brain has been hijacked by too much internet. We have paper ballots, ideas checked, and scrutiners from each party overseeing the counting in every riding. The Conservatives lost fair and square and have only themselves to blame after running a non-inspiring campaign for 2 years. And that, sir.
Yeah. I actually saw that earlier. I thought that was a great point. We had Billboard Chris on the show here a couple weeks ago, and he's a smart guy.
Man.
Yeah.
He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right.
Yep. Again, you got to take that accountability. Guys, again, please come back. We're here every day, noon Eastern. I'm trying to
2-ish.
Yeah, until 2. We try to go to 2, but as you can see, we're always a little bit late. But usually if we're later, it's because we're just getting a lot of comments, and we're always going to take the extra time to engage with you guys. I see so many good comments I want to jump into, but yeah, we really come back tomorrow, and we'll pick up where we left off, guys. Other than that, we appreciate you guys, and we will see you tomorrow. Peace.